Yeah, hey. So listen, I got a lot going on. I got quite a few to cover. Today just wasn't a good day for Trump or MAGA or GOP, none of them folk. It just wasn't. A lot of court. MAGA or GOP, none of them folk. It just wasn't. Baby. A lot of court. MAGA or GOP, none of them folk. It just wasn't. A lot of court. MAGA or GOP, none of them folk. It just wasn't. Shh. A lot of court. Baby, the echo was real. Wait a minute. Can y'all hear me? Let me say this again. There's a lot going on today. Lot going on today. And then I got one more set. I need this stuff right here. I'm trying to find it. I used to go to the World Trade Center. I used to be a buyer. And this right here is good stuff. And as you can see, I'm out. It brought me some relief. Baby, when I get out here, I got to find this right here. Uncle Buzz. I think he went out of business. I don't know why. Because this right here made me feel like both my legs was almost the same length. You know, when your leg is one little, and you can't put full weight on it. It looks like you got that walk, But this stuff right here, I'm like, oh Lord, that's why I've been keeping it. You see, when it expired, it's been expired. I just gotta find it, baby. I talk about pushed up, but anyway, yeah, so she was funny, but I don't know if I have time for this because I got something already set. I need to get to these disappointments tonight, baby. So without further ado, hey everybody, hey, come on in. I know my what you call them ain't working right. I'm having server issues. Hopefully Scooter can fix it for me tomorrow. But anyway, I'm coming back to her because she funny as heck. She laughing at Nicki Minaj because Trump gave her a gold card, and she said she think Nicki means that she legal now. So then I cut it off. But let's listen, because we got to go to these places, baby. Somebody got busted. But let's listen. Let's go.
I want to be very clear about what happened this morning. This is not a political rally. This is a debt collection.
Oh.
I have handled hundreds of tax cases, and they all end the same way, with a padlock on a gate. Before you dismiss this as just another election headline, I want you to look at this document. This is what we call a writ of entry. It is the only reason that plane is on the ground right now. The media tells you this is about weaponization. They tell you it's a sudden attack. But I'm going to show you the court docket that proves this is...
It's the only reason the plane is on the ground. And so it can't go up in the air no more?
Well, maybe you're going to have to...
Slow, girl. It can't go up in a way?
The plane is on the ground right now. The media tells you that... I want you to look at this document. This is what we call a writ of entry. It is the only reason that plane is on the ground right now.
Hey, cool.
The media tells you this is about weaponization.
Hey,
they tell you it's a sudden attack.
Hey, Janet.
But I'm going to show you the court docket that proves this has been coming for 4 years.
Room shaker, hey.
I'm going to show you the unpaid bills, not the speeches.
He can't pay the...
If you want to understand how the IRS actually seizes a billionaire's private jet, you're in the right place. This morning at 9:23 a.m. Eastern, the Internal Revenue Service filed a formal asset seizure order targeting a Boeing 757 private aircraft. The seizure order identifies the aircraft by tail number, registration, and current location. The IRS doesn't file these documents casually. They follow a
it's
process.
the IRA, and the S. Oh, so when you said debt, you talking about taxes. I mean, how, this is what blows my mind. But then he over there stealing. You know what? I may need to go to the other one first. You know what? I may need to go to the other one first because they over there stealing. And when I say stealing, I mean stealing with numbers like we ain't never heard before. He's still. He don't look still. He be big stealing. He trying to pay off these debts. You understand? Janet, stealing big time. Like big lie, little lie. Let's go to the other one first, because see, this don't make sense to me. Now, I know you stealing. Hey, either line, Ethel. I just broke that down, didn't I? Either line. Evelyn. I mean stealing. So let me, y'all, I hate to do this, but we need to, this don't make no sense to me. You over there, you got all of y'all going to jail and hell. Thou shalt not steal, even if it's stealing on foreign land. He didn't say, it's okay to steal if it's out the country. And then you gonna make yourself the authority over stolen money. Yeah, we gotta go here, cause see, I was saying before you was doing all this stealing to try to pay your bills and keep your Mar-a-Lago. But listen, I kind of want to skip. Yeah, we gotta go here first, cause if you doing all of this stealing, why the hell you still losing shit?
If you saw the news, but Fox
what type of thief are you?
Declining in the polls, and President Trump
I'm confused.
Marco Rubio had a terrible day on Capitol Hill, where he appeared at a hearing as a witness before the United States Senate.
Janet, you just sent me something.
Under the aggressive cross-examination by senators, particularly the Democratic senators led the way. Democratic senators like Duckworth and Kane,
they're doing some heavy-duty stealing.
And Rosen and others were grilling the Secretary of State. He got very nervous at times, and his nervous habit is to reach for the water bottle and start chugging it. You saw that happen multiple times.
Couldn't get enough water.
Also, Marco Rubio appears to have engaged in numerous instances of perjury for which he should be held accountable. I'll let you form your own opinions if he completely lied the way I formed my opinion that he completely lied.
Again.
So let me show you what went down at this hearing. First, you have Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth cross-examining Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, about Donald Trump invoking the Wartime Aliens Act. And Duckworth says, so, are we at war, yes or no, with Venezuela? Do you believe that's an act of war? Let's play this clip.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, last March, the president invoked the Alien Enemies Act, a notorious wartime law last used for Japanese internment. He said that he was responding to the Maduro regime's supposed invasion or other acts of war against the United States. But in recent weeks, you, the Department of Justice, and our friends across the aisle have repeatedly said that we are not at war with Venezuela. Secretary Rubio, if that is true and we are not at war with Venezuela, will you advise the president to rescind his invocation of the Wartime Alien Enemies Act?
Well, that was a mechanism to remove people from our country that prevents grave danger. So, for example, we know for a fact that Tren de Aragua was a very dangerous gang. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I may have been the first member of Congress.
This is a wartime act, Mr. Secretary.
Well,
are we currently at war with Venezuela?
No, we're not in a state of
No.
war in Venezuela.
Okay, the Supreme Court has described the Alien Enemies Act as a wartime power, our Supreme Court. And before now, the Alien Enemies Act was only invoked during the War of 1812, World War I,
Don't here go that
World
water.
War II,
Don't play
when it was
dumb.
used to intern thousands of innocent
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
civilians. Are you really arguing that the president should be able to wield an internment law?
No, but we're talking about two separate
No.
things here. So you're talking about the state of Venezuela, or are describing the regime.
I am
And we're talking about, but what the president designated.
invoked the Alien Enemies
I know,
Act.
Senator,
It's a very
but let me be clear
clear
with you. No, but what,
Next, you have Democratic
There'll be
Senator
no-
Schatz say,
Hey, Cynthia.
so is the next plan by the Trump regime to do regime change in Cuba? Just so the American people have peace of mind, can you rule out another regime change? And watch what Rubio says. Here, play this clip.
Lying and stealing.
I'm just going to move on to a couple of other issues. Your comments
There go that water.
that Havana should be
Ooh,
concerned
Lord.
about the Maduro operation is fueling speculation that this administration will turn its sights to Cuba next. Will you make a public commitment today to rule out U.S.
Senate
regime
Democrats
change in
and
Cuba?
White House
regime
reached a
change?
spending
Oh, no, I think we
deal.
would love to see the regime there change.
About
We would
more
like to,
time.
that doesn't mean that we're going to make it change, but we would love to see it change. There's no doubt about the fact that it would be of great benefit to the United
Who
States.
the hell you think
if
we
Cuba was
talking
no longer
about?
governed by an autocratic
what,
regime.
But you know what we mean by regime change. We don't mean I wish someone else were in charge. When we talk about regime change, we're talking about using the power of the United States, usually kinetic power, but often other kinds of coercion. And I'm not even saying that that's always not in our interests. I'm just saying, I'm not asking you whether we would prefer a different kind of government. I'm asking whether you are trying to precipitate the fall of the current regime.
Yeah, but that's statutory. The Helms-Burton Act, the U.S. embargo on Cuba is codified.
So they try to
It was
play on
codified in law,
words.
and it
Oh,
requires regime change in order for us to lift the embargo.
Okay.
Next, you have Democratic Senator Van Hollen grilling Marco Rubio about whether or not Trump informed oil executives about the invasion of Venezuela before it took place, as Donald Trump publicly stated that he told the oil executives before Congress. Rubio says that never happened. Donald Trump didn't say that. Okay, well, we actually have tape of Donald Trump saying that he informed the oil executives before he informed Congress, but watch Rubio lie. As I said, this is why I believe
All they do
Rubio's
is lie.
been engaging in perjury. Here, play this clip.
Now, President Trump has said publicly that he had communications with folks from the oil industry about going into Venezuela before anyone here in Congress was notified. Mr. Secretary, simple yes or no question. Were you with President Trump during any of those conversations he had with people with oil interests in Venezuela about the possibility of deposing Maduro?
That's not a simple yes or no question, but I can answer it quickly, and that is the president always elicits opinions from all sorts of people, including, for example, Chevron has an active license in Venezuela. They operate in Venezuela.
Look at them with a
They've
smart.
been doing so even when the sanctions were in place.
So the
of
answer
course
is
you
no.
would ask Chevron, what is your opinion of Delcy Rodriguez? What are your opinion of their economy and of their prospect? But the notion that somehow the president authorized this challenge at the urging of oil executives is absurd. That never happened.
Mr. Secretary, I'm asking whether you were with the president.
That never happened. I couldn't be with him because it never happened. The oil executives were not involved whatsoever in any of the planning on this matter. None.
Did the president, as he said publicly, inform them about the U.S. operations?
I think all of those executives learned about this operation the same time everybody else did.
Well, President Trump has said the opposite in public.
No.
Yes, he has. I mean, he said it. I think it was aboard Air Force One on an airplane. It's
Oh,
signed
you
public
didn't
record.
know that.
Take a look. Look.
Next, you have Democratic Senator Duckworth talk about her experience as a
Well, y'all gonna
soldier
lie?
serving in
Get y'all
Iraq
lie together.
alongside our NATO allies. And she grills Marco Rubio here about Donald Trump's statements that our NATO allies were not fighting with American soldiers in Afghanistan, and how hateful and harmful that is to our relationship with our allies, given the ultimate sacrifices our NATO allies made for the United States in Afghanistan and elsewhere. Here, play this clip.
And let me just say something about the president's recent comments about NATO allies. When I served in Iraq, there were Polish forces there with us. There were British forces there with us. There were Spanish forces there with us. I personally landed in Elzi, España, which came under direct attack by insurgents. Polish troops who worked with the Illinois military, with the Illinois National Guard for 30 years, died in Afghanistan, Mr. Secretary.
All the president
So I
wants
just
is for
want to say
NATO to
is
have
that
more
our NATO
capability.
allies have stood
He
beside
wants
us,
our allies to
and
have more
we
NATO.
need to maintain the strength of that alliance.
I get it.
yield.
All the
Senator,
president wants is
your
our
time's
allies.
up. Not making much progress here.
Well, let me just
Very
say, the
much.
president just wants our allies to have more capabilities to be involved in operations like that, God forbid, in the future if necessary.
That's not
an
what
unreasonable
That's not what
request.
he-
Stayed a little behind, and they certainly did not come to our defense. And
Or not every
they did.
country in Europe, not every country in NATO participated in those missions. Some did.
Denmark suffered some of the greatest military
There's
casualties.
no
I
doubt that
hope
many
it's
of our
the
allies
same
have
one.
stepped forward and provided assistance to us, and there are many others who simply don't have the capability to do it now or in the future.
That's not what the president
Roll
said.
away.
Senator Lee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
You see how squirmy Rubio is? It's lie after lie after lie from Rubio. Next, Democratic Senator Rosen cross-examines Rubio about Juan Orlando Hernandez and asks Rubio a very basic
Oh
question.
my God.
Juan
This
Orlando
irritates
Hernandez
me. That one
is one of the
irritates me.
biggest drug traffickers, narco-terrorists
Oh,
that
please
ever
have
existed.
the
Donald
cream.
Trump pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez. And so Senator Rosen said, isn't it true that Hernandez was somebody who trafficked drugs into the United States and killed people? He was convicted of that in the United States in federal court proceedings. So will Rubio even admit to that? No, he
Nope.
won't, because he lies about everything. Watch Rubio squirm. Here, play this clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member, and thank you, Secretary Rubio, for being here. I'm going to get right into it because I want to build on Senator Van Hollen's line of questioning. President Trump pardoned the former Honduran president after he was convicted of trafficking roughly 400 tons of cocaine into the United States. Cocaine that contributed to the deaths of tens of thousands of
the
Americans
same?
year
Let's see.
after year. Yet the president and his cabinet authorized a military operation to capture Nicolas Maduro in order to arrest him for virtually the same crime. So, yes or no, because I have a bunch of questions here. To the best of your knowledge, was Hernandez convicted of trafficking approximately 400 tons of cocaine into the United States?
I'm not involved in the pardon process. I can tell you.
No,
that
I'm just
the
asking
president-
if he-
Yeah, but I don't do yes or no. I don't play games. This is not a game
Hey,
show.
Do you
Tamika.
know okay, so I'm just going to tell you
So I can answer your question because I know what you're getting at, but go ahead.
was
Ask.
convicted.
Yeah.
I know.
The president
Agree
felt
with-
that he was unfairly treated. I can't give you much
No.
insight because I'm not involved in the pardon
But
process.
would you not concede? Can you not understand how the American people
He
and
don't
how the
care
world
how the
are
American
clearly
people.
going to be frustrated by the hypocrisy of this when one man is convicted and pardoned and another man captured, and how it undermines the United States' credibility on the world stage?
But the difference is that, again, I can't opine on the specifics of his case because I wasn't involved in the pardon, but he was not a sitting office holder. He was not even the president of Honduras when that decision was made, either to convict
It
him.
was-
The difference between him and Nicolas Maduro is he was actively engaged in narco trafficking. It was an ongoing endeavor.
I think it does undermine our credibility.
It
but I'm gonna move
undermines
on
our
to some
credibility.
foreign policy.
Now you have Democratic Senator Schatz
Period.
talk about and cross-examine Rubio about Donald Trump taking the oil money from Venezuela and moving
Here
it
we
over
go.
to bank accounts in Qatar controlled by Donald
Oh,
Trump
they got
with
it.
no legal oversight by
Oh,
Congress.
out of
And under
stock.
what legal authority,
Out
Rubio,
of
do you
stock.
believe that we
Out
just
of
take this money and move it
stock.
to bank accounts in Qatar? Here, play this clip.
Again, I want to ask about the oil. Under U.S. law, funds received by the government must be deposited with the Treasury. Earlier, you testified that the funds are being held short-term in Qatar and then will move to a Treasury blocked account. What is the statutory authority for the administration relying
Yeah.
on Qatar to hold the funds?
It's not our funds. The funds are in an account that's owned. and
Not
signed.
our
It's
account.
an account that belongs to Venezuela, but it has U.S. sanctions as a blocking mechanism on it. And one of the primary reasons why it was in a third country initially, until we could create the mechanism to move it to a U.S. presence, is twofold. One, we have an issue we're working through on recognition. What is exactly, you have to recognize a government, but we don't recognize this government. We recognize the 2015 National Assembly. So we have to find some creative way legally to meet that standard.
A
The other is
creative
frankly
way
creditors.
legally.
If any of that money touched a U.S. bank, even if it was an account in the name of the Venezuelans, it would immediately be seized upon by a number of creditors who eventually will have to
Any legal. Now, who gives you the legal authority? Who are you, Rubio? So, it ain't our money. It's not in Hey, Reflections with Kimberly. Hey, Ladybug, how you doing? It ain't our money, but we, the U.S., put it in an account in in a foreign bank, a Swiss bank account, and put sanctions on it. I'm cold too. I'm hurting. And I done lost my thought. And it ain't our money. You done hid it in foreign bank accounts. Put sanctions on it. Who gave you permission to do that? Huh? Ain't that stealing? Let's hear this shit. This
take
is
care of, but in the short term, that would impede a third country initially until we could
Qatar to hold the funds.
It's not our funds. The funds are in an account that's owned. And
so it's not our funds. Let's go. Let's hear this shit, y'all. Cause maybe we can do this one day. It ain't our money. And it's not our account. Right? Now we talking about somebody who shit is being seized right now. Let's hear this.
We'll move to a treasury blocked account. What is the statutory authority for the administration relying on Qatar to hold the funds?
It's not our funds. The funds are in an account that's owned and signed. It's an account that belongs to Venezuela.
So y'all hear him say and signed. Who signed for it? Who signed for it to go in a bank account in Qatar? Who signed? It ain't our money. Ain't that what he said? Ain't that what he said, Fred? Ain't that what he said? Get your lie together, because I'm listening with my good ear. Let's go.
Justified that the funds are being held short-term in Qatar, and then we'll move to a treasury blocked account. What is the statutory authority for the administration relying on Qatar to hold the funds?
It's not our funds. The funds are in an account that's owned and signed. It's an account that belongs to Venezuela. But it has U.S. sanctions as a blocking mechanism on it. And one of the primary reasons why it was in a third country initially, until we could create the mechanism to move it to a U.S. presence, is twofold. One, we have an issue we're working through on recognition. What is exactly, you have to recognize a government, but we don't recognize this government.
So you got to recognize a government. Yay, Get Pack. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love seeing that star by your name. Thank you. Awesome. Y'all welcome. I mean, we see Get Pack all the time, but thank you. Welcome to the membership. Welcome to the palace. Our tea palace is your tea palace. Sip. Yeah. Y'all hear how they stealing? Yeah, I mean, don't try this at home. Oh, you outside cold and hurting. Baby, this right here, you don't know, but Auntie Fee she has some. Yeah. But this stop show trying to get it. I don't think it's the same. Uncle Bud's, baby, hurting. Oh, I need this. I'm gonna have to cut this open and get the rest of this out. But let's go. Don't try this at home, y'all. I mean, I'm listening with my good ear to see if I could ever get away with this shit that these crooks right here are finna get away with. Let's go. Let's hit it. Let's go.
We'll move to a treasury blocked account. What is the statutory authority for the administration relying on Qatar to hold the funds?
It's not our funds. The funds are in an account that's owned and signed. It's an account that belongs to Venezuela, but it has U.S. sanctions as a blocking mechanism on it. And one of the primary reasons why it was in a third country initially, until we could create the mechanism to move it to a U.S. presence, is twofold. One, we have an issue we're working through on recognition. what is exactly, you have to recognize a government, but we don't recognize this government. We recognize the 2015 National Assembly. So we have to find some creative way legally to meet that standard. The other is, frankly, creditors. If any of that money touched a U.S. bank, even if it was an account in the name of the Venezuelans, it would immediately be seized upon
Who
by
name
a
is it
number
gonna
of
be
creditors
in?
who eventually we'll have to take care of. But in the short term, that would impede the ability of the Venezuelans.
So eventually we're gonna have to take her up. But we don't want to right now. Cause Trump need this money. See? Trump need this money. Hey, Jamil. So so eventually we're gonna have to. Now, although Trump normally don't pay all his bills, we know that. And just in case y'all impeach his ass, those accounts are over there. And hell, once he out of office or whatever, y'all ain't supposed to know nothing about them accounts over there. And Trump set this shit up, so he just gonna steal and keep on walking. Keep on trucking, baby. You gotta keep on trucking. Yeah.
Authorities to receive the funds they need to operate.
So do you have this is what I'm trying to get at, right? Either it's American money, in which case it's subject to the Miscellaneous Receipts Act, and there are all kinds of things that attend to that. You're saying it's Venezuela's money, but it does sound like, according to the EO, according to the president's statements, you are in charge of that money. What authority are you relying on to be in charge, almost in a sort of receivership kind of arrangement, of how funds are both received and expended for a foreign country? Like, wouldn't you have to come to Congress to establish that?
No.
Well, no, because the money never enters our hands. We only control the disbursement of the money. We don't control the actual money.
Sure, but
it comes into our bank account.
Do you think that you have somewhere in the statute or the Constitution the authority to control disbursements of a foreign country?
Well, they've agreed to this. That's the key. They've agreed to this arrangement in which the sanctions that are placed.
Who? The man that's locked up in prison? The president? Who agreed to it? Who agreed to let y'all steal $500 million worth of oil and put it in an account and let y'all put sanctions on they shit? Who? Boy, you lying. And then you make yourself you grant yourself authority to regulate and move and open accounts and shit, and you didn't run none of this through Congress. Oh, y'all, they need to impeach the whole cabinet.
Placed on this oil is what blocks its distribution. So we've agreed to release sanctions and allow the disbursement.
The authority to control disbursements of a foreign country?
Well, they've agreed to this. And that's the key. They've agreed to this arrangement in which the sanctions that are placed on this oil is what blocks its distribution. So we've agreed to release sanctions and allow the disbursement of the funding as long as they're spending it in a certain way. So I understand it's novel, but it's the best we could come up with in the short term to ensure that they're...
Is there a written agreement that memorializes this?
Yes, I believe there is, and there will have to be one most certainly once we transition that to U.S. accounts.
Secretary, my understanding is the committee doesn't have this agreement.
Well, I can...
If we do or we don't?
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't because it's a Treasury matter. Treasury's handled it, but I can most certainly talk to Treasury about providing you the information.
Also, you're the National Security Advisor, so you do have a role here in coordinating between the department. So it's not just like you can punt this to Treasury.
Yeah, I just didn't bring the document with me.
I got it. Okay. I just want you to land it and get it to the committee because, you're being transparent. I think this is novel. I think it's funky. I think it may not even be permissible. But I don't know until I see the document. And
the world may feel like it's metaphorically on fire right now.
Y'all see that shit?
Make sure we keep highlighting one truly
they over there stealing land. They be Netanyahu.
The EU now warns that the Paris Agreement's 1.5-degree threshold could be broken before 2030. Samantha Burgess of the Copernicus Climate Change Service put it bluntly. She said climate change is here and we're seeing events. Shows that climate change has tripled heat-related the brink. And even when insurers
Donald Trump. You've probably heard that the money is in subscribers, or that you need to go viral on YouTube in order to succeed.
Moving money.
Trump got it wrong. Donald Trump just said the wrong place. But didn't Caroline Leavitt say that Donald Trump didn't say the wrong place and that Donald Trump just said block of ice?
Hold on.
Donald Trump continuing to mistake Iceland for Greenland, and Rubio admits.
Make it clear that you care about Okay, Ben, back to you.
Stealing money.
Democratic Senator Tim Kaine cross-examined Rubio about Donald Trump continuing to mistake Iceland for Greenland, and Rubio admits Donald Trump got it wrong. Donald Trump just said the wrong place. But didn't Caroline Levitt say that Donald Trump didn't say the wrong place and that Donald Trump just said block of ice, didn't confuse Iceland for Greenland?
Hold
we all
on.
heard what Donald
Remember,
Trump
he's
said.
stealing
Said
money.
He wanted to invade Iceland. He shouldn't be invading any of these countries. What are we talking about here?
Stealing
Here, play this
land.
clip.
Speech in Davos. Here's something the president said
Let me
in
see if I can
Davos.
get some more out.
I'm helping NATO until the last few days when I told them about Iceland. They loved me. They're not here for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. Our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland has already cost us a lot of money. President repeatedly mistook Iceland for Greenland, right? We're not mad at Iceland. They haven't cost us any money. The president just mistook the two countries for each other, correct?
Yeah, he meant to say Greenland, but I think we're all familiar with presidents that have verbal stumbles.
No.
We've had presidents like that before. Some made a lot more than this one.
Nice try. Thanks. I thought you did well.
Next, you have Democratic Senator Shaheen cross-examine Rubio about where this Venezuelan
please hit
oil
the like
money
button.
is going. Watch Rubio admit that it's in this Qatari bank account with no oversight by the government. Play this clip.
Right. So it's been reported that the oil sold for $500 million, that $300 million went to Venezuelan government. What happened to the other $200 million?
It's still sitting in the account, is my understanding at this time.
The account in Qatar?
Well, the account, yes, but that will ultimately be that's a short-term account. Ultimately, it will be a U.S. Treasury blocked
Hold
account.
on. So there's 200 million sitting somewhere unaccounted for. See, I couldn't be in this meeting because I'd be like, hold up, slow down. You're talking too fast. You're talking like a car salesman. Slow your ass down. You made me thinking that you baiting and switching. You switching numbers around. So you done sold it. And you done kept commission of 200 million. And we about to go down. Government about to shut down. Cause y'all want to take shit from folk who invested into the treasury. And now you talking about it's your understanding is there. When was the last time you checked? Cause Trump losing shit. Reckon it's gone. Yeah.
At this time.
The account in Qatar?
Well, the account, yes, but that will ultimately be that's a short-term account. Ultimately, it will be a U.S. Treasury blocked account in the United States. Ultimately, that's a short-term account.
$1 million went to Venezuelan government. What happened to the other $200 million?
It's still sitting in the account, is my understanding at this time.
The account in Qatar?
Well, the account, yes, but that will ultimately be that's a short-term account. Ultimately, it will be a U.S. Treasury blocked account in the United States.
And will it also be audited?
Correct. Well, the audit will be on the expenditures. At the front end, we'll tell them this is what the money can be spent on. Again, I'm not talking about all the other revenues the Venezuelan government may have. We're talking about the revenues from the sanctioned oil. At the front end, we will say this is what the allowable expenses are. And then they will agree to fund,
This is some
as
crazy
part of
shit,
the overall
y'all.
cost, they will pay for and fund an audit system acceptable to us to ensure that that's how the money was spent.
And can you report?
More from Senator Rosen here, cross-examine Rubio about who actually is running American foreign policy. Are you running the foreign policy? Who's running it? Here, play this clip.
Because despite the fact that you famously or infamously have numerous jobs in the administration, your Secretary of
It's
State,
blowing my mind that
National
they gonna tell
Security
these folk how to
Advisor,
spend their money.
it is increasingly unclear who's actually directing U.S. foreign policy under President Trump. We have a special envoy Witkoff. He's reportedly conducted Russian-Ukraine talks in Switzerland beyond your awareness. He and Jared Kushner have been described as managing the president's Gaza plan. Meanwhile, Ambassador Barrack is leading on Syria policy, while Special Envoy Boulos is appearing to lead on our Africa policy. So I have to ask you, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you, are you the lead for U.S. government on foreign policy?
No, the lead on U.S. foreign policy is named Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. On the individuals you've described, these are very valuable teams. We have an exit. If I can answer, because I think it's important. It's a legitimate question.
So they just bypassing Congress altogether,
but I think
y'all.
both the benefit of being the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of State. As National Security Advisor, my job is to coordinate the interagency function of national security, and that involves foreign policy. So I speak to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in the case of Gaza and now Russia, probably 10 times a day. We have multiple meetings and coordination. All of it is we build a team, we gather facts,
they build their own team,
and then we take them to the president. It is the president who directs the the foreign policy of the United States. That's always been the case, by the way.
You can't overrule.
More cross-examination.
Y'all hear this
cross-examination here from Democratic Senator Duckworth. Watch this. Let's play this clip.
Gang directly responsible for narco trafficking.
The Trump administration has acknowledged that the vast majority of the men it rounded up and deported to torture under this law had no criminal records whatsoever.
We didn't torture
Independent, over 75%.
Who did we torture? We haven't tortured anybody. We've arrested people that are members of gangs and we've deported them. We don't want gang members in our country.
Have found that
Trump is a part of a gang. He's a part of organized crime.
Targeting under this law, what protections do totally innocent people have against abuse? Again, I want to ask you, will you advise the president to rescind his invocation of the Wartime Alien Enemies
No, of course
Act?
not. I mean, these are people that are threats to the national security of the United States. But I've described this in hearings in the past, including
So you're saying that we're at war?
We are absolutely. When it comes to narco trafficking groups and criminal gangs that are targeting the United States for criminal
activity, we're in a state of war.
There's no doubt about the fact that we're confronting them in a warlike setting.
Laws of war apply, and do the Geneva Convention
They're waging war against us, and they're
really, Rubio. You're saying that nobody's being tortured or harmed by the ICE
lie.
Border Patrol, Gestapo. Yet another lie by Rubio. And here Rubio talks about where the Venezuelan oil money is going.
Boy, I wish they was raising my house.
A blocked account in Qatar.
All that line. My mama will beat their ass.
Oh, it's Donald Trump's personal slush fund, isn't it?
Yes.
Here, watch this clip.
That oil, the proceeds of that oil, which by the way is being sold at market price, not at the discount Venezuela was being forced to sell, is being deposited into an account that ultimately will become a U.S. Treasury
and now
blocked account here in the
Absolutely.
United States. They will submit. We will at the front end say this is what this money can be spent on these things.
How you gonna tell them what to submit that?
They will submit to us a budget request. We want to use this money for these things, and part of the proceeds will go to fund a audit process to make sure that that's how the money is being spent.
So
and that's how we intend to handle those funds in the short term.
There's an actual audit process that's been set up.
It will be set up, and we have a couple options.
It will be.
One option is the XM Bank. They have expertise as bankers and being able to do some of that option. There may be some others in place. We haven't finalized what that audit process would be. We've only made one payment, and that payment we did, and retrospectively will be audited. But it was important we made that payment because they had to meet payroll. They had to keep sanitation workers, police officers, government workers.
So they are operating as if they own this.
So it's.
Then you had Republican Senator Rand
This is crazy, y'all.
Cross-examining Marco Rubio.
This
for
is
Rubio
crazy.
saying, okay, there was not a war in Venezuela because the Trump regime doesn't want to get the authorization from Congress that's required. So Rand Paul's like, so I just want to understand this. So if another country kidnapped the United States president and brought him off to their country, you're saying that you wouldn't view that as an act of war? Watch Marco Rubio squirm. Here, play this clip.
Our founders debated extensively over which branch of government should have the power to declare or initiate war. Virtually unanimously, they decided, and what was entered into the Constitution was that the declaration or initiation of war would be the power of Congress. Now, we have many advocates, many of whom are here today, who have been advocates for an expansive notion of presidential power. They often argue that wars are not really wars, that they're kinetic actions or drug busts. I think, though, if you reverse the circumstances, it becomes very difficult for these arguments to hold up. So I would ask you, if a foreign country bombed our air defense missiles, captured and removed our president, and blockaded our country, would that be considered an act of war?
Well, I think your question is about and I will acknowledge you've been very consistent on all these points the entire career. So let me no matter who's in charge. So I will.
Don't stutter now.
The first is it's hard for us to conceive that an operation that lasted about 4.5 hours and was a law enforcement operation to capture someone we don't recognize as a head of state indicted in the United States,
All right,
wanted
my
with a
question-
$50 million
my
bounty.
question would be, if it only took 4 hours to take our president, it's very short, nobody dies on the other side, nobody dies on our side, it's perfect. Would it be an act of war?
We just don't believe that this operation comes anywhere close to the constitutional definition of
But
war.
would it be an act of war if someone did it to us? Nobody dies, few casualties, they're in and out. Boom, it's a perfect military operation. Would that be an act of war? Of course it would be an act of war. I'm probably the most anti-war person in the Senate, and I would vote to declare war if someone invaded our country and took our president. So I think we need to at least acknowledge this is a one-way argument. One-way arguments that don't rebound, that you can't apply to yourselves, that cannot be universally applicable are bad arguments.
More from Senator Rand Paul here,
Don't
cross-examining
stop
Rubio.
playing.
Play
Y'all
this clip.
stealing.
What it is, and let's vote on these things. But I think we're in violation of both the spirit and the law of the Constitution by bombing a capital, blockading a country, and removing elected officials. And we certainly wouldn't tolerate it, nor would I if someone did it to us.
But we didn't remove an elected official. We removed someone who was not elected, and it was actually an indicted drug trafficker in the United States. And their system,
Our laws,
And
indicted under our laws. Look,
Those are our
Bolsonaro
laws.
says that Da Silva is not really the president of Brazil. Our president said Biden wasn't really the president. Hillary Clinton said in 2016 Trump wasn't the president. So you have these arguments, and I agree with you. It probably was, and most likely was, most assuredly was a bad election. He wasn't really elected. But at the same time, if that's our predicate, and you don't have to come to us because it's a drug bust, we're just removing somebody, you can see where it leads to. And it leads to chaos. And that's why we have rules like the Constitution, so we don't get so far out there that presidents can do whatever they want. It is this check and balance. And I would argue for 70 years we've been going the wrong way. It isn't just this president, but it's a debate that I think is worth having.
He tried it, didn't he?
Belong where you are is where I belong.
He tried it for the Trump dump.
Streaming Monday.
And I think here Senator Rand Paul just continued to press at this point. Let's play it.
Argument. So it's a drug bust. What if a foreign country indicts our president for violating a foreign law? Should we extradite our president, or should we be okay if they come in and get him by force?
Look, I think ultimately we're always going to act in our national interest. And so if somebody comes after our national interest, like the case you've described, which obviously does not exist at this time, but the case you've described, the U.S. always has the right to act in its national interest and to protect itself. So I don't know about this equivalency. Well, does this justify them doing it? We're always going to do what's best for the United States and America. We're always going to protect our system.
But the point isn't, and you're exactly right. We will act in our national interest, and we should. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. What I'm saying is that our arguments are empty. Then the drug bust isn't really an argument; it's a ruse. The war argument, not a war, is a ruse. It's not a real argument. And we do what we do because we have the force, we have the might, we do it because it's in our interest. So we wouldn't let anybody come in, bomb us, blockade us, and take our president. We've had arguments about legitimate, illegitimate presidents, bad elections, rigged elections. So there's all kinds of same arguments that we've had in our country that they've had in Venezuela.
And finally, you have Democratic Senator Tim Kaine discuss how he really would like to use this Senate hearing to talk about the war crimes or crimes against humanity that are being committed off the coast of Venezuela, where the Trump regime just killing people on fishing boats. And they're saying, oh, these are narco-terrorists, but we're learning more and more that these people just seem to be on fishing boats. And even if they were having drugs on it, there's not fentanyl on these boats. And even if there was drugs on these boats, which there doesn't appear to be, I think there was one boat maybe smelled of marijuana, maybe. Don't just get to kill and murder people. But Tim Kaine says that the Trump regime has universally declared everything relating to these war crimes to be confidential so that we can't have public hearings on it, which is absolutely despicable. Watch Tim Kaine finish off this hearing, play this clip.
This operation on September 2nd with the attack on Venezuelans in boats in open waters. And now we are nearly 5 months in. Next week is 5 months. Finally, a public hearing. Wow, how novel. Finally, a public hearing in the Senate or House. This is the first public hearing we've had. 200 Folks who are on secret designated combatant lists have been killed. U.S. troops have been injured. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent. An armada amassed. The announcement of a new Monroe Doctrine, which does not land well in the Americas. Democrats have been asking over and over again, can we have a public hearing? Can we share what we know with the American public? Finally, a public hearing. But even that hearing is constrained. I'd like to talk about the complete weakness of the legal rationale about the strikes on boats in international waters, but I can't because the administration has only shared it with members in a classified setting. I can't tell you why the domestic rationale is hollow and the international rationale is hollow. I can't tell you why the rationale for attacking Venezuela is hollow because, again, the rationale has been shared with us in a closed setting. I can't share with you the grim details of the murder of shipwrecked survivors.
Jenny, can you ask the people to hit the like button, please?
Videos. And we've questioned the U.S. military officials involved about legality because the administration will not release that publicly.
Y'all want that blue stick?
Boat strike videos publicly, but they hid the second strike that killed struggling shipwrecked survivors, even from Congress, for nearly.
Come on, y'all. Can y'all double tap the face of the screen? Hit the 3 dots at the top corner right. I mean, please, can y'all? Thank you, Specs. You came in. You came right on in.
$3 months, but I can't really talk to you about it. I can't talk to you about the weakness of the targeting criteria being used to attack boats in the Caribbean and Pacific. I would encourage any colleague, if you have not, go to the classified setting and ask for a briefing on each strike. 3 months. They released the boat strike videos publicly, but they hid the second strike that killed struggling shipwrecked survivors, even from Congress, for nearly 3 months, but I can't really talk to you about it. I can't talk to you about the weakness of the targeting criteria being used to attack boats in the Caribbean and Pacific. I would encourage any colleague, if you have not, go to the classified setting and ask for a briefing on each strike and ask this question: what was the evidence that there were narcotics on that craft? You will be very surprised if you ask that question about every strike. And so even in this first public hearing, 5 months in, there's a lot we can't talk about. If it was such a righteous operation, why is the administration and the majority in this Senate so jealously protecting the details about it from being revealed to the American public? I have Virginians deployed in this operation. I can't answer their families' questions. Thank God we're having a public hearing 5 months in. This is supposed to be the greatest deliberative body in the world. Mr. Secretary.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think there. You saw Marco Rubio squirm. I think obviously.
Lied. Okay, so we know they stealing. They say it's $200 million. They say they don't put $300 million in Venezuela foreign account that they gave them permission. I mean, hell, they couldn't open up. I mean, I thought they had a vice president. Why are they moving as if this is their country? So y'all just done took over. Okay. So y'all say y'all put $300 million in an account for Venezuela. Yeah. And there's 200 that you think is still just sitting there. Y'all, do we really believe that? And this man right here on this one, he getting his jet seized. Let's go.
I want to be very clear about what happened this morning.
Please hit the like button.
This is not a political rally. This is a debt collection. I have handled hundreds of tax cases, and they all end the same way, with a padlock on a gate. Before you dismiss this as just another election headline, I want you to look at this document. This is what we call a writ of
Padlock on the
entry.
gate.
It is the only reason that plane is on the ground right now. The media tells you this is about weaponization. They tell you it's a sudden attack. But I'm going to show you the court docket that proves this has been coming for 4 years. I'm going to show you the unpaid bills, not the speeches. If you want to understand how the IRS actually seizes a billionaire's private jet, you are in the right place. This morning, at 9:23 a.m. Eastern, the Internal Revenue Service filed a formal asset seizure order targeting a Boeing 757 private aircraft. The seizure order identifies the aircraft by tail number, registration, and current location. The IRS doesn't file these documents casually. They follow a process, a long process, a documented process.
What do the hearty meatball, the bold Italian, and every other firehouse sub have in common? They're freshly prepared.
Here's what most people don't understand about how the IRS operates when they seize assets from high net worth individuals. This isn't the beginning of enforcement. This is the end of a very long road. The IRS doesn't wake up one morning and decide to seize a $20 million aircraft. They exhaust every other collection method first.
He a nightmare.
Securities liens, real estate attachments, physical asset seizures like aircraft, that's the last resort. I'll be covering how this case develops, the legal process, not the political spin. If you want to follow the actual evidence as it unfolds, subscribe. Let me walk you through the paper trail.
Do y'all still think that 200 million sitting there?
The seizure order is the visible moment, but the timeline stretches back 4 years. The IRS follows a documented escalation process, and every step matters. It starts with an audit. The agency conducts an investigation, determines a tax deficiency, and issues a formal assessment. The taxpayer receives notice CP-14. That's IRS language for, you owe money, here's the amount, here's the deadline to pay or dispute. That's step one. When the initial assessment goes unpaid, the IRS escalates to demand letters. They send a series of certified letters. Notice CP-501, CP-503, CP-504. Each one increases the urgency. Each one documents that the taxpayer was informed of the debt and given opportunity to resolve it. The IRS doesn't move forward until these attempts fail. Next comes the federal tax lien. You've heard the term lien. Here's what it actually means in plain English. The government files a public claim against your property. It's recorded with local authorities. It affects your credit. It puts other creditors on notice that the IRS has priority claim to your assets. A tax lien doesn't seize anything. It establishes legal position in line for payment. Then the final warning. Notice of intent to levy. A levy is different from a lien. A levy takes property. But even before the IRS can levy, they must send Form 668A, Final Notice of Intent to Levy. 30 days minimum between that notice and actual seizure. That's federal law. The documented timeline in this case? 4 years of process. 17 certified letters according to IRS collection protocol. 3 documented in-person meetings between IRS revenue officers and the taxpayer's representatives. That's what Form 668A requires before seizure authority activates. The headline says IRS seizes jet. The actual process? 4 years of documented warnings, opportunities to pay, opportunities to dispute, opportunities to negotiate payment plans. But here's what makes this seizure different from typical high net worth cases I've seen. I've only seen the IRS seize aircraft 4 times in 3 decades. If you're thinking this seems unusual, you're right. Let me show you why. 3 anomalies stand out. First, the asset class. The IRS typically goes after liquid assets first. Bank accounts, brokerage accounts, securities. Real estate comes next. Physical assets like vehicles, equipment, aircraft, that's the absolute last resort. Why? Because they're hard to store, expensive to maintain, complicated to sell, and often secured by loans that reduce net recovery value. When the IRS seizes an aircraft, it signals they've exhausted easier collection methods. Second, timeline acceleration. Standard IRS collection follows a predictable pace. Assessment, letters, lien, levy warning, seizure. That process usually spans 5 to 7 years for high-dollar cases. This case compressed the final 18 months. 3 years of standard procedure, then rapid escalation in the last 6 months. That acceleration indicates either new information came to light or the taxpayer took actions that triggered expedited enforcement. Third, public disclosure.
We know he didn't do that.
Most IRS seizures happen quietly. Bank levies are private. Even real estate liens, while public record, rarely generate headlines. Aircraft seizures? The IRS knows these will be public. Tail numbers are tracked. Aviation databases are searchable. When the agency moves forward despite guaranteed publicity, it signals confidence in their legal position. That's not coincidence. That's pattern. When I see these 3 factors together, difficult asset class, accelerated timeline, public exposure, I know the IRS has determined they have no other viable collection path. Let me know in the comments. Does the 4-year timeline change how you see this story? I'm curious what patterns you're seeing. Let me break down what this seizure reveals about the debt. The aircraft's worth approximately $20 million, according to aviation market assessments. But here's the math that matters. The IRS doesn't seize assets unless the outstanding tax liability significantly exceeds the asset's net value. Why? Because seizure and sale costs are substantial. Aircraft storage fees, maintenance requirements during the seizure period, appraisal costs, auction management, legal fees if the taxpayer contests. The IRS has to recover enough after those costs to justify the seizure. Industry standard. The IRS typically won't seize unless the debt is at least 150% of the asset's liquidation value. For a $20 million aircraft, liquidation value, what it actually sells for at government auction, not retail price, runs about 60 to 70% of market value. So we're looking at roughly $12 to $14 million in realistic recovery. Now apply the 150% threshold. If the IRS needs $12 million in net recovery to justify this seizure, the underlying debt likely exceeds $18 to $20 million minimum. But here's where it gets more complex. You've heard the term priority of claims. Outside court, you'd call it who gets paid first when there's not enough money to pay everyone. If the aircraft has secured loans against it, and most private aircraft do, those lenders get paid before the IRS recovers anything. That changes the calculation dramatically. The headline focuses on the jet. The real story? The financial cascade this represents. Tax debt doesn't start at $20 million. It builds. Original tax deficiency. Failure to pay penalties at 0.5% per month. Failure to file penalties if returns weren't submitted. Interest compounding daily at federal rates. Late payment penalties. Accuracy-related penalties if the IRS determines underreporting was negligent or intentional. How does tax debt get this large? Start with a $5 million tax deficiency. Add 4 years of compounding interest at roughly 6 to 8% annually, depending on federal rates. Add penalties. That $5 million becomes $8 to $9 million before any collection action begins. But here's what happens next in the legal process, and why it matters for everyone, not just this case.
Everyone.
The IRS follows a process. It's documented. It's reviewable. It's the same process whether you owe $5,000 or $5 million. That principle matters. After seizure, federal law requires specific procedures. The IRS must appraise.
Hey y'all, it's 136 people in here right now. Can y'all double tap the face of y'all phone or hit those 3 dots at the top right? Let's go.
The aircraft within 60 days using independent certified appraisers. The taxpayer has the right to request a collection due process hearing before an independent IRS appeals officer.
Brace your taste buds. The new DQ Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket comes with cool DQ.
That officer can review whether the seizure followed proper procedure, whether the tax assessment was correct, whether alternatives to seizure exist. If the seizure stands, the aircraft goes to public auction. Not a private sale, public auction. Advertised in multiple publications for at least 10 days before sale.
First of each month.
Any qualified bidder can participate. The IRS can't just sell to whoever they want at whatever price they want. Judicial oversight applies. After the sale, proceeds follow a priority chain. Secured creditors with valid liens get paid first. Then the IRS recovers their tax debt. If there's surplus, money left over after all debts are paid, that surplus returns to the taxpayer. That's federal law. The government doesn't get to keep excess proceeds.
So Trump Towers, some other building on I don't remember. Mar-a-Lago, now now the jet. I'm gonna ask y'all again, do y'all still think that 200 mil is still sitting over there in that Swiss account, foreign bank account? Is the money still there? Is he moving it? You know, cause they, what is it? Friendly peace and blessings over there on foreign land. He want a bill, 1 billion to be on to have a seat, to have a seat, $1 billion. Yeah, and why you losing your properties? Oh, okay, carry on. Y'all hit the like button. I got another one. Come on, let's go.
Seats. No one is above the law, but everyone gets due process. These procedures exist to protect taxpayers from arbitrary government seizure, while also protecting the public's interest in tax collection.
The scammer.
When high-profile cases follow or abandon protocol, it sets precedent for how the IRS handles everyone's taxes.
Dang, I wish I could do
if
a
the
poll.
agency cuts corners, skips procedures, or seizes assets without proper documentation, that creates legal precedent.
Who's gonna help me
that
reach
could
my
affect
goal
any
today?
taxpayer.
149 people in
If
here.
they
Hit
follow
the like
process
button.
Exactly. Notifications, hearings, public sales, surplus return. That reinforces that the system works the same for everyone. The IRS has a 93% success rate in collection due process hearings when they followed procedure correctly. Without proper documentation, that creates legal precedent that could affect any taxpayer. If they follow the process exactly, notifications, hearings, public sales, surplus return, that reinforces that the system works the same for everyone. The IRS has a 93% success rate in collection due process hearings when they followed procedure correctly. When they haven't followed procedure, courts reverse seizures.
Thank you, Gaddy
regardless
Pat.
of who the taxpayer is. That's how federal tax enforcement works when the system
Thank you
functions
for the
correctly.
first.
Here's what we know from
Want
the
to help me
documents.
reach my goal?
4 years of documented IRS collection process. Standard procedures followed at each escalation point. Certified notifications sent and received. Federal tax lien filed and recorded. Final notice of intent to levy issued with required 30-day waiting period.
So they don't send a levy.
Then
30
seizure.
days.
The alternatives were exhausted. Bank accounts insufficient
Not
or
gonna sue me,
inaccessible. Other assets either seized or inadequate. to
Not
cover
gonna
the
sue me.
The aircraft represents significant equity the IRS can liquidate to satisfy the debt. What happens next is procedural. The aircraft gets appraised by independent certified appraisers.
Oh, wow.
The taxpayer can request a collection due process hearing to contest the seizure.
I suggest y'all collect some DNA up out of there. Yeah, y'all need to rub it down. Not with no hot oil, baby, but just rub that thing down and make that blue light come on and see if it's some DNA up in there. Yeah, cause we do know, Donica, yeah, yeah, you know, the pickle former, yeah, play with boys and girls. So yeah, y'all may want to put that blue light up in there and see if y'all can catch something. Yeah. Since they want
If that hearing
criminals.
upholds the IRS action, the aircraft gets publicly listed and sold at judicial auction. Proceeds pay secured creditors first, then the tax debt. Any surplus returns to the taxpayer. That's the process. Taxpayers have rights. The IRS has authority. Courts provide oversight. When each part functions correctly, the system produces accountability. That's not a threat. That's not a promise.
Ooh.
That's just how federal tax enforcement works.
So that's not no threat. That's
no one
just
is
how
above
it
the
go.
law, but everyone gets due process.
I don't trust nothing
if you want to watch
from
how
my
this
government.
unfolds,
I don't trust nothing
subscribe.
either. But
And
I'm
let
going
me
to
know
tell
in the
y'all.
comments, does the 4-year timeline change your view of IRS enforcement? I read every one.
Oh, wow. When did he do this one? He frees Ivanka's hand. That ain't what I got next.
If you're over 40
Let me see when this was. Because Ivanka was just subpoenaed.
People are getting
freezing her
I have
hand.
stood in federal court.
Hold on. Let me see how long ago this is. They hate you, Jack. They say hit the road, Jack. Don't. Oh, 5 hours ago. Got it. Y'all, is it okay since we here, he said he freezes as Ivanka hand. Let's go, y'all.
Rooms for 30 years.
I
have watched defendants face juries, judges, and verdicts. But there is a specific moment in every major prosecution
You got
that
Ivanka?
tells me the case is over.
Oh, shit.
It isn't when the verdict is read. It happens much earlier. It happens when the defendant realizes their own inner circle has handed over the one thing they cannot talk their way out of.
Oh, shit.
This morning, reports indicate we have reached that moment. We are seeing a shift, not just in testimony, but in physical, digital evidence.
Uh-oh. Physical and digital evidence. Y'all, please double tap the face of y'all phone device if that's how you're listening in for this tea. I told y'all it got hot up in her. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. I told you it got hot. Hell, I guess it's still sizzling up in here. They got Ivanka too. See, I've been trying to tell y'all. Here we go. I've been trying to bring to y'all Ivanka was subpoenaed. But heck, other stuff been going on. Them documents is not adding up. That falsified documentation was on her watch. On Ivanka's watch? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Jack be limber. Jack be quick. He said he had all he needed. Hold on.
Specifically,
he had everything he needed to bring old Deputy Donald down. Ain't that what he said? Thank you, Specs Dunn. He said, see, oh boy, thank you, Janet. Thank you for this. Okay, I got, okay. Thank you. Third person has helped me reach my goal. Thank you, I appreciate it. So he said I can bring, Epstein said I can bring you down. He said, yeah, but see, you had to go. You know, CIA needed you. Yeah, so let me do it. I got it. And he don't uck around. I'm going to get the whole family. Yeah, y'all see where he going with this? She was subpoenaed. And wasn't happy about it. Melania over there crying her ass off for thinking that she was going to rumble with the Mike Wolf B. Mike Wolf said, oh, okay, y'all don't want to give up the Epstein files. Yeah, we gonna get them. I've been trying to tell y'all, it's more than one way to skin a cat. He got more than, they got people circling. Boy, have you, oh, Lord, please forgive me. Oh, wow. It take my nephew to tell you. Thank you, Coco. Woo! I said Coco, I meant a purple flower. Thank you for the cocoa. Thank you for the cocoa. Thank you for the cocoa. See, I was going to say, they got a whole, Trump and them think they don't form their team. They got a whole team of people that done been violated in some shape, form, or fashion. And it's our boy, my nephew, I heard he was in the barber shop one day talking about his old auntie back in the day. Somebody was like, she'll get out like that, man. Not her. Not her. He was like, shit. That's my baby auntie. She the youngest, but you know about them baby aunties. But anyway, I said, oh, Lord. He was in the barbershop and he was like, yeah. He said, shit, she'll get in there. She'll get in there. So, long story short, back in the day, I had a shoe fly. Don't bother me. It was time to go. Love don't live here no more. It's time to go. And I don't know what was in the water that day, but he wasn't ready to go. And so he was just going to try to, I don't know what he thought he was going to do. I don't know. But my nephews was spending the weekend with us. You understand? And so my nephews, he was trying to push me in the back, to get me away from my nephews so that they wouldn't hear whatever was about to go down. So my nephew was like, I like you and all, but you can't put your hands on my auntie. You understand? And I'm finna land this plane, cause ain't nothing like a group of people that you don't even know forming a circle around you. Some of them you may even like, but they forming a circle around you. So I don't know how we ended up outside. I don't know if he tried to get up on my nephew. I don't remember for details, but Bud thought he was finna go into a karate like stance. This is funny to me now, y'all. So, I started going around the circle. So as I was moving, it was making my nephew move. You understand? As I was moving, they was moving. So before he realized it, with that one leg up, like he Cheech and Chong, like he... Laquita. Now, it wasn't Auntie feet. It was Laquita. Okay? As he had that leg up, we was going around in the circle, and that ganking me, that hooded me at that time, came out. And so as I'm watching him with that leg up, I was telling one nephew to clip that other knee that's down. And I was telling my other nephew, when he clipped that knee, you take him down. And then I said, you gonna get your ass whooped today. I said all that to say. We didn't have no problems. He realized he was outnumbered. And he realized I was giving instructions while he was doing whatever that shit you doing. It ain't gonna work in your favor today. You ain't gonna get but one kick off. I'm gonna tell you that shit now. The rest of that belongs to us. So I suggest you kick hard. But you ain't gonna get but one. So I said all that to say, there's people circling around Trump and his family right now. And I don't think he realized it. So they got Melania crimes. They was thinking that movie that, so one person done got a ticket over her. Now they trying to switch it up, and 7 people done rented. I mean, bought a ticket over there. So, 7 and 1 is 8. That's it. Yeah. So now, she getting sued because she tried to play a game. Ivanka, she has to go to court because she was the one that was helping her daddy forge them records with Jared. Yeah, and now Trump is losing Mar-a-Lago, Trump Tower, and and they done figured out that Barron little ass, when the daddy play them games, acting like the stock is going up, acting like he finna do something crazy to make the stock market go up and down. Barry brings his little ass in there, and then he do a little switcheroo. They done figured all that out. They circling around their asses. But carry on. Hit the like button. Double tap. Hit the 3 dots at the top. Let's go. They circling their asses. I didn't know they got you. Let's hear this, Ivanka. Let's go, girl. They say you a guy. But carry on.
Provided by the defendant's own family. When a key witness, specifically
a witness,
this morning, reports indicate we have reached that moment. We are seeing a shift, not just in testimony, but in physical, digital evidence
witness
provided by the defendant's own family.
Oh my God.
When a key witness, specifically a daughter or a son-in-law, hands over a hard drive, the dynamic in the defense room changes instantly. It creates what I call, when a key witness, specifically a daughter or a son-in-law, hands over a hard drive.
Hold up. I know he not saying Ivanka and Jared, the son-in-law, giving evidence over against Trump. Get the gun. I know. Is that what I'm hearing, y'all? I'm over here giggling. Is that what we heard?
Family. When a key witness, specifically a daughter or a son-in-law, hands over a hard drive, the dynamic in the defense room changes instantly. It creates what I call legal paralysis. The defendant freezes, not out of fear, but out of calculation, because they know what is on that drive. I've built cases against war criminals and corrupt officials. They all prepare for hostile witnesses. They prepare for media leaks. But they never prepare for the silence of a hard drive that documents every movement, every deletion, and every intent.
Oh, my.
Hey there, fellow growers. I'm Aviva. You've got to check out this superstar of a microbe hiding in this town.
I'm going to walk you through exactly what this evidence means.
Oh, my.
Why digital forensics makes traditional defenses impossible, and why this specific turnover changes the trajectory of the entire federal case. I'll be covering this case as it develops, focusing on evidence, not spin. If you want to follow the facts without the noise, subscribe now. Let's strip away the headlines and look at the forensics. When you hear hidden hard drive in the media, it sounds like a spy movie. But in a federal investigation, a hard drive is something much more practical and much more dangerous for a defendant. It is a digital chain of custody. In my experience, witnesses are fallible. A witness on the stand, even a family member, can say,
when it rains, it pours.
They can say, I interpreted that instruction differently. Juries might believe them. Juries might think, well, it was a chaotic time. Maybe they forgot.
But
a hard drive does not forget. A hard drive does not have a memory lapse. When I subpoena a device from an inner circle witness, I am not just looking for emails. I am looking for...
Woo, baby. Woo from the Mo3 sector? Are you Woo from the Mo3 sector? Well, this is my first time seeing you. So, hi, Woo, baby. I'm trying to see if you're from the Mo3 sector. If not, hello. Welcome. Y'all hit the like button. Double tap the face of the screen. Get the likes up. Let's get this tea. It's hot. It's hot.
Metadata. I am looking for the invisible file. Let me explain what that means. Juries might believe them. They can say, I interpreted that instruction differently. Juries might believe them. Juries might think, well, it was a chaotic time. Maybe they forgot. But a hard drive does not forget. A hard drive does not have a memory lapse. When I subpoena a device from an inner
Hard
circle
drive
witness,
can't play
I'm
dumb.
not just looking for emails. I am looking for metadata. I am looking for the invisible file. Let me explain what that means. Every time a document is opened, moved, or deleted, it leaves a digital fingerprint. If the defendant claims, I didn't know those documents were there, but the hard drive shows a file access timestamp of 10:42 p.m. on a specific Tuesday, that defense is gone. This is why the cooperation of a family member is significant. It is not just about what they say to prosecutors. It is about the devices they surrender. If the former advisor, the daughter, hands over her communications, she's handing over a map. That map...
Oh my God. Former advisor. She was an advisor. Does he know? Or maybe she didn't know what she was turning over. Oh, wow, man. Oh, wow. But, and I will say this. They got in trouble before. That first term, I think he pardoned them. But it just depends on how. That's why Melania is trying to get that case turned over to the federal courts, right? Because he can't pardon that state. And I don't know how he gonna do what this man is doing, but if he comes state this time, which would, to me, would be the only reason that Jared and Ivanka would be turning over evidence against the daddy. Y'all do know that's why they're not a part of his cabinet this time, because they got in trouble the last time. And so when Jared was talking about Gaza and the new Gaza and the work that he's doing, he's not officially a part of the cabinet, but he's just working, you know. I can't think of the word. They say when you're working for free. Yeah, right. Let's go.
Shows who was talking to whom, exactly when they were talking.
Oh, wow.
And most importantly, what they were doing when they thought no one was watching. We call this corroborative forensics. It means I don't need to trust the witness's word, because I have the device that proves it. If the witness says, he told me to move the boxes, and the hard drive shows a text message sent 3 minutes later confirming the move, the case shifts from he said, she said, to he said, the evidence proves. That is the distinction. And that is why the defense strategy we have seen so far, delay, deflect, deny, is hitting a concrete wall. You can delay a trial. You cannot delay a timestamp. You might be asking yourself, why?
Something has gone wrong for America's children. At rates we've never seen before, they're anxious, they're lonely, they're depressed.
Wow, y'all,
What
that's
happened
deep.
here, as you might suspect, a big part of the...
Oh, my goodness, that's deep. Hi, Prada, Gucci, Fendi. Can I get you to hit the like, you and Woo Baby, hit the like button for me?
Why would a daughter,
double tap the face
son-in-law,
of the screen? I would greatly appreciate it. Hold on, hold on. What am I gonna do? Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Double tap the face of the screen. Hold on, y'all. I need to. Hold on for a second. Ooh, I hope this is the exact same stuff. Thank you, Janet. I seen it, but the ingredients look different. I think that's why I couldn't find it before. There we go. Come on, y'all. Hit the like button for me. Let's keep this thing going because I got another good one for you. It ain't over. It ain't over because the fat lady has not sung. Ouch.
Or a close inner circle advisor turn over this kind of damaging material? Is it betrayal? Is it politics? In 30 years of damaging material, is it betrayal? Is it politics? In-law or a close inner circle advisor turn over this kind of damaging material? Is it betrayal? Is it politics? In 30 years of prosecution, I have seen this pattern dozens of times. It is rarely about betrayal. It is almost always about self-preservation.
Yep.
This is the reality of the federal system that television rarely explains. When a special counsel investigation targets a high-profile figure, the pressure radiates outward.
He doing AI
it starts with
too.
The target, but it quickly encompasses everyone around them.
In Memphis.
Suddenly, the advisors and family members are not just witnesses. They are subjects of the investigation.
Absolutely.
They have their own lawyers. And those lawyers have a duty to one person, their client. Not the former president, not the father, but the client. I have sat across the table.
So just in case y'all thinking he ain't talking about Trump, he's talking about Trump.
The conversation is always the same. I tell them, we have the documents, we have the logs. Your client can either be a defendant in this conspiracy or they can be a witness for the government.
Oh, my Lord.
Those are the only two chairs in this room. It is a calculation. We call it the prisoner's dilemma.
The prisoner's dilemma.
Lawyers, the conversation is always the same. I tell them, we have the documents, we have the logs. Your client can either be a defendant in this conspiracy or they can be a witness for the government. Not the father,
oh my God,
but the client. I have sat across the table from these lawyers. The conversation is always the same. I tell them, we have the documents, we have the logs. Your client can either be a defendant in this conspiracy or they can be a witness for the government. Those are the only two chairs in this room.
Everybody's snitching.
We call it the prisoner's dilemma. When the former advisor realizes that protecting the target means risking their own freedom, their own future, and their own reputation, the calculation shifts.
I guess that's what's going on in the DFW. Why all of them folks is snitching on each other with the Mo3 situation. Yellow Beezy, Trap Boy, Bodega, Keywan. What's the other one name? Devin. I guess that's why they, and JJ. Baby. Oh, wow. But again, y'all gonna be surprised. It's all full circle.
Ends where the indictment begins. This isn't a coincidence. This is a standard investigative timeline. We are seeing it play out right now. The government doesn't need to flip everyone. We don't need every aide to talk. We just need the one person who held the password. We just need the one person who managed the correspondence. Once that person decides to save themselves, the wall of silence crumbles.
Oh, wow.
Let me know in the comments.
That's why he was mad.
Do you think a family member has a moral obligation to protect the defendant or a
she
legal
better protect
obligation
herself.
to protect
they better protect their family.
I read every response, and I'm curious where you draw that line.
You better
now let's look at why this specific evidence causes that freeze response I mentioned at the start. It comes down to one word: intent.
That's more than a little specs.
Mishandling of information or obstruction of justice.
She done gave over a timestamp.
We know the boxes moved. We know the documents were there. That is the physical act. But proving criminal intent, proving that the defendant knew what he was doing was illegal and did it anyway, is the hardest hurdle for a prosecutor. That is, until you get the internal communications. If I am prosecuting this case,
you wait till you hear the next one.
Moving, the defense can argue he was busy. He didn't know. It was an accident. That is
y'all better get the likes up.
Defense. It is powerful. It creates reasonable doubt. But if I have a hard drive from a key aide that contains an email thread discussing how to hide those boxes or how to delete the footage, the ignorance defense evaporates. You cannot argue you were ignorant of a plan that you were emailing about.
Be the first one to tell for the deal.
This is the checkmate move. When the inner circle cooperates,
study long, you study wrong.
The narrative
that's in
of
cards,
intent.
dominoes,
they provide
and court.
I want you to imagine the scene in the defense counsel's office when they learn this drive has been turned over.
Oh, wow.
They know that every conversation they claimed was privileged or private might now be in the hands of... I want you to imagine the scene...
And remember, he got stripped from that immunity, presidential immunity. So that's what Ivanka thought was going to save her when she was playing with Michael Wolff. After was suing him for billions of dollars. And then he turned around and sued her. And so she was playing and he wasn't. He said, release the Epstein files. It's coming out. You got people circling around you. And then Sasha Riley popped up out of here and started telling about the steaks and shit, the knives and forks in the steak. The knife and forks in that steak. Send his ass straight to the hospital. Say, oh Lord. I even saw somewhere where he was saying he trying to make it to heaven. I said, baby, let me sit up. Before I hurt my leg. I said, you better check. Make sure you ain't blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. You know, my God is a forgiving God. He said he came and died to set you free. So, you know, I said, what? I got to find it for y'all. Hit the like button. Double tap the face of your screen. Hit those 3 dots at the top right. I'm trying to go on. I'm trying to press my way. Ain't that a song? I'm pressing my way. I'm pressing my way. I'm trying to keep on trucking, baby. And guys, the next one, it's going to blow your wig back. It's going to send that hair up and it's going to fly away. And that's a song too, ain't it? I fly away. I fly away. Woo! Hit the like button. Let's go.
Defense counsel's office, when they learn this drive has been turned over.
Oh my God.
They know that every conversation they claimed was privileged or private might now be in the hands of the special counsel.
Oh wow.
They have to assume the worst. They have to assume that every instruction given to hide evidence is now public record.
Oh my
This
Lord.
creates legal paralysis. They cannot file a motion claiming X if the hard drive proves Y.
Oh,
they cannot put the defendant on the stand to deny the timeline if the digital forensics confirms the timeline. It limits their options to almost zero. The freeze isn't an emotional shock. It is the realization that the chessboard has become very small. When you are a defendant, used to controlling the narrative, used to spinning the story, facing a piece of evidence that cannot be spun is terrifying. You can argue with a prosecutor. You can argue with a judge. You cannot argue with your own encrypted messages. The evidence creates a box. And right now, for the defense, there is no exit from that box. This brings us to the bigger picture. Why does this matter to you? Why should you care about one hard drive in one case? Because this is how the system is designed to work. We hear a lot of noise about a two-tiered system of justice. We hear that powerful people can delay forever, that they can buy their way out of accountability. And I understand that frustration. I see it in the comments every day.
Thank you.
But evidence is the great equalizer. The law of evidence does not care about your title. It does not care if you were a president, a CEO, or a general. Digital forensics treats every suspect exactly the same. A deleted file is a deleted file, regardless of who deleted it. What we are watching is the slow, grinding, mechanical process of justice. It is not fast. It is not flashy. It doesn't fit into
Ain't that called a slow burn? A slow burn. So this is a slow burn. Oh my God. Oh, just get it over with. I just couldn't deal with that. I know they gonna have to come get me. But I would just be losing my mind. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
30-second soundbite, but it is thorough. When a court accepts this evidence, when a grand jury reviews these files, they are affirming a fundamental principle: no justice. It is not fast, it is not flashy, it doesn't fit into a 30-second soundbite, but it is thorough. When a court accepts this evidence, when a grand jury reviews these files, they are affirming a fundamental principle: no one is above the law. If the system allowed a former president to hide evidence simply because of who he is, the system would collapse. But that is not what is happening. We are seeing the system function. We are seeing subpoenas issued and enforced. We are seeing privilege claims challenged and defeated. We are seeing evidence collected, authenticated, and prepared for trial. This is what accountability looks like. It isn't a speech. It isn't a rally. It is a stack of hard drives, a list of timestamps, and a prosecutor presenting facts to a jury of peers. The system works when everyone does their job. And right now, the investigators are doing theirs. We are entering a new phase of this legal saga. The time for political rhetoric is ending, and the time for legal specificity is beginning. The turning over of this drive signals that the special counsel is moving deep into the inner circle. We will likely see more motions to suppress this evidence. We will see attacks on the chain of custody. We will see attempts to delay the trial even further. But the evidence is now in the hands of the court. It has been preserved. It has been logged. It cannot be unwrung. That is not a threat. That is not a promise. That is just how justice works. The truth has a way of surfacing, usually through the silence of a hard drive rather than the noise of a press conference. The system relies on one thing: truth. And today, we are one step closer to seeing exactly what that truth looks like. If you want to watch this unfold, and if you want to understand the legal reality behind the headlines, subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what does this evidence mean to you? Do you trust the process to handle it fairly? I read every one. I've built cases against war criminals and corrupt officials. They all prepare for hostile witnesses. They prepare for media leaks. But they never prepare for the silence of a hard drive that documents every movement, every deletion, and every intent. I'm going to walk you through exactly what this evidence means, why digital forensics makes traditional defenses impossible, and why this specific turnover changes the trajectory of the entire federal case. I'll be covering this case as it develops, focusing on evidence, not spin. If you want to follow the facts without the noise, subscribe now. Let's strip away the headlines and look at the forensics. When you hear hidden hard drive in the media, it sounds like a spy movie.
Oh my God. It sounds like hot, sizzling tea. Okay, so y'all listen. I need for y'all to hit the like button before we go to this next one. And baby, if you thought that was hot. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you thought that tea was hot, oh my God. Oh my God. If you thought that tea was hot, oh my God. Oh my God. That's it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Double tap. Y'all come on. Hit the like button. Hit those 3 dots at the top. Hit the 3 dots at the top. I would greatly appreciate it. And we can move on to this next one. We can move on to this next one. Oh my God. Y'all come on, hit the like button. This we're gonna take you there. I'm trying to get there too. Hold on. Trying to see what's going on.
Recorded evidence. Evidence.
Hold on. We love to hear that word evidence, don't we? Oh, y'all gonna get the likes up? Ouch! Oh! Ouch! Ouch! Ouchie! Ouchie! Oh! Mm! Mm! Sorry, y'all. Ooh. Ouch. Oh, that hurt. Mm.
minutes.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna say what I wanted to say, cause this was updated. God, dog. Okay. Let me see.
That's how long the FBI needed inside Judge Caldwell's.
No, I want the other one. I understand that this is newer, but I need to
recorded evidence.
To say what I know it said. I haven't heard that one. Oh, y'all, Monty, that is a blessing. What did Monty say? Let me see. Oh, that's a conversation to you. Okay. Y'all, the lights didn't go up, but one. Y'all must don't want this tea, baby.
Here's what they're not showing you.
Is this the one? Ouch! Y'all, that hurt. I ain't gonna even lie. Hit the 3 dots at the top. This ain't the one, but okay, let's go. I'm gonna have to make it do what do. I just hurt myself.
A forgotten microphone. Here's what they're not showing you. A forgotten microphone. A conversation that was never meant to be heard. And a judge who stopped an entire trial the moment he realized what was happening. Judge Caldwell didn't raise his voice.
Hey, Your Honor. Your Honor say you... No, that's the police to say you have the right to remain silent. Let's go. Y'all ready for this?
Here's what they're not showing you. A forgotten microphone. A conversation that was never meant to be heard. And a judge who stopped an entire trial the moment he realized what was happening. Judge Caldwell didn't raise his voice. He didn't slam a gavel. He did something far more terrifying. He went completely silent. Then he ordered the U.S. Marshals to seize the defense laptop.
Oh! My Lord! My Lord! What did I just hear with my good ear? Oh, Lord! What did I just hear? Can I go in this? Can I say it one? Can he say it one more time? Y'all need to hear that. I don't think y'all heard that. Y'all didn't hear that, did y'all? Did y'all hear that with your good ear? What you saying to me, Your Honor?
Here's what they're not showing you. A forgotten microphone. A conversation that was never meant to be heard. And a judge who stopped an entire trial the moment he realized what was happening. Judge Caldwell didn't raise his voice. He didn't slam a gavel. He did something far more terrifying. He went completely silent. Then he ordered the U.S. Marshals to seize the defense laptop right there in front of the jury, in front of the cameras, in front of the defense attorneys who suddenly looked like they'd seen their entire careers flash before their eyes. What was on that laptop? What was in that recording? And why is everyone involved suddenly refusing to talk? I've watched the footage 17 times, and every viewing reveals something new. So what pushed Judge Caldwell over the edge?
One moment, one decision, one line, the defense team. I've watched the footage 17 times, and every viewing reveals something new. So what pushed Judge Caldwell over the edge? One moment, one decision, one line the defense team should never have crossed. A microphone left active during a recess picked up a conversation between the lead defense attorney and someone who shouldn't have been talking to them at all. But here's the thing, this wasn't random. This was weeks of suspicious behavior finally catching up. And I'm going to show you exactly how it all fell apart.
Oh my God.
The case itself was already explosive. A high-profile fraud trial, millions of dollars, powerful people with everything to lose. The kind of case that makes careers or destroys them. Judge Caldwell had been presiding over this trial for 3 months. 3 months of motions, objections, and a defense team that seemed just a little too confident, just a little too prepared for every prosecution move. Everyone noticed. Nobody could prove anything until that microphone stayed on, until that conversation was captured.
Could
until
nobody
Judge Caldwell heard something that made
prove
him
nothing?
stop.
Is that what he said? They
The
couldn't
moment-
prove nothing?
Until that conversation was captured. Until everyone noticed. Nobody could prove anything until that microphone stayed on, until that conversation was captured.
Oh, my.
That seemed just a little too confident, just a little too prepared for every prosecution move. Everyone noticed. Nobody could prove anything until that microphone stayed on, until that conversation was captured, until Judge Caldwell heard something that made him stop everything. The moment everyone's talking about, it's coming. But first you need to understand what the defense thought they were getting away with. Because when you see the full picture, you'll understand why Judge Caldwell did what he did. Here's what actually happened, the moment everyone clicked to see. Tuesday morning, 10:47 a.m., courtroom 4B of the federal courthouse. The kind of room where careers end and legacies are written. Judge Caldwell had called a 15-minute recess, standard procedure. The jury filed out, the prosecution gathered their notes, and the defense team huddled in the corner of the courtroom, voices low, assuming what everyone assumes during a break, that no one was listening. They were wrong. The courtroom's audio system, installed for ADA compliance and record keeping, has microphones throughout the room. During active proceedings, only specific zones are live. During recess, the system is supposed to go dormant. Supposed to. A technical glitch, or maybe something else, kept the defense table microphone active, and it captured everything. The lead defense attorney speaking in hushed tones. He confirmed the witness changed her story. We have the new version. They don't know she talked to us. Then another voice, unidentified at first, but clearly not part of a legal team. She's scared. She'll say what we told her to say. Just make...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Y'all, it's 286 people in here. Please double tap the 3 dots at the top right corner and hit the like button, please. Oh, my God. So they had gotten... Oh, my God. Look at God. My.
Phone active, and it captured everything. The lead defense attorney speaking in hushed tones. He confirmed the witness changed her story. We have the new version. They don't know she talked to us. Then another voice, unidentified at first, but clearly not part of a legal team. She's scared.
Y'all do know that this is what happened in Diddy's case. Y'all do know that, right? Hit the like button. Don't make me stop right when it's about to get good.
A technical glitch, or maybe something else, kept the defense table microphone active, and it captured everything. The lead defense attorney speaking in hushed tones. He confirmed the witness changed her story. We have the new version. They don't know she talked to us. Then another voice, unidentified at first, but clearly not part of a legal team. She's scared. She'll say what we told her to say. Just make sure the judge doesn't find out about the contact. The conversation continued for 2 more minutes. References to adjusted testimony, mentions of the arrangement, and a chilling phrase that made Judge Caldwell's blood run cold. Caldwell won't know until it's too late. The audio was being monitored in the clerk's office, standard security protocol. Within 60 seconds, the recording was in Judge Caldwell's chambers. He listened once.
The judge won't know until it's too late. See, this is why that judge in the Diddy case was so pissed. This is why he was pissed. I tried to tell y'all that man had lined it up exactly. And if the witnesses would have followed the instructions, he would have been convicted on all counts. And that's why that man was mad. That's why all of his bonds, requests, appeals, and shit was denied. Because they have tainted the case. Let's go.
Phone active, and it captured everything.
Everything.
The lead defense attorney speaking in hushed tones. He confirmed the witness changed her story. We have the new version. They don't know she talked to us. Then another voice, unidentified at first, but clearly not part of a legal team. She's scared. She'll say what we told her to say.
That sounds like
Just
Trump.
make sure the judge doesn't find out about the contact. The conversation continued for 2 more minutes. References to adjusted testimony, mentions of the arrangement, and a chilling phrase that made Judge Caldwell's blood run cold. Caldwell won't know until it's too late. The audio was being monitored in the clerk's office, standard security protocol. Within 60 seconds, the recording was in Judge Caldwell's chambers. He listened once, then he walked back into that courtroom. Witnesses say his face was completely neutral. No anger, no shock, just absolute, terrifying calm. He didn't address the jury. He didn't address the prosecution. He looked directly at the defense table. Mr. Harrison, he said, his voice flat, please remain seated. The lead defense attorney started to stand anyway, started to object. I said remain seated. That's when the marshals...
Dang, he should have did the New Jack City. Judge, sit your 5-cent ass down before I make change. Your nickel ass down. Whatever he said before I make change. Sit your ass down before I throw your ass in jail.
Courtroom. Witnesses say his face was completely neutral. No anger, no shock. Just absolute, terrifying calm. He didn't address the jury. He didn't address the prosecution. He looked directly at the defense table. Mr. Harrison, he said, his voice flat, please remain seated. The lead defense attorney started to stand anyway, started to object. I said remain seated. That's when the marshals moved. Not toward the attorney, toward the laptop sitting open on the defense table. Your Honor, this is outrageous, Harrison began. What's
You knew what I meant.
Judge Caldwell cut in, is what I just heard on the courtroom audio feed. The laptop is being seized as evidence. Your entire team to say his face was completely neutral.
Laptop
no anger,
is being
no
seized.
shock, just absolute, terrifying calm. He didn't address the jury. He didn't address the prosecution. He looked directly at the defense table. Mr. Harrison, he said, his voice flat, please remain seated. The lead defense attorney started to stand anyway, started to object. I said remain seated. That's when the marshals moved. Not toward the attorney, toward the laptop sitting open on the defense table. Your Honor, this is outrageous, Harrison began.
No.
What's outrageous, Judge Caldwell cut in, is what I just heard on the courtroom audio feed. The laptop is being seized as evidence.
Don't get brand new now.
Your entire team is ordered to surrender all electronic devices. Now, the courtroom erupted. The jury was rushed out.
Clutching pearls.
The prosecution
Clutch
sat
your
frozen,
pearls.
clearly having no idea what was happening. And the defense team, 3 attorneys, 2 paralegals, watched as everything they brought into that courtroom was bagged and tagged.
Oh my
But here's
God.
what nobody saw coming. Judge Caldwell wasn't done. This trial is suspended pending investigation. Mr. Harrison, you are hereby ordered to remain in this jurisdiction. All defense counsel are barred from contacting the defendant, the witnesses, or...
Barred! Huh? I told y'all this was gonna be good. Now get my likes up before I end it. Get the likes up. I told y'all it's gonna be good. Good on TV. Good. Double tap and hit those 3 dots at the top right corner. Bard, you stay. You stay. Don't you leave this jurisdiction. Whatever it said. I got something planned for you. And depending what I see when I run through y'all shit. Your ass is good as grass. And I'm about to mow that grass down. Hi, Arthur. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. My head's over doing this type of stuff. Oh, my poor fingernails. Oh, Lord. Y'all, if y'all knew the pain I was in over here giggling. Uh-huh. Let's go.
Everything they brought into that courtroom was bagged and tagged.
Toe tag.
Nobody saw coming. Judge Caldwell wasn't done. This trial is suspended pending investigation. Mr. Harrison, you are hereby ordered to remain in this jurisdiction.
What?
All defense counsel are barred from contacting the defendant, the witnesses, or each other until further notice.
What?
Harrison's face went white.
He can't
Actually
use the
white.
phone?
The kind of pale that comes from realizing your entire career just imploded in 90 seconds.
A different
Your
type
Honor,
of pale.
Our client has rights. Your client's rights are not the issue, counselor. Your conduct is. And then Judge Caldwell said something that made every attorney in that courthouse sit up straight. Federal marshals will escort you to processing. You are not under arrest yet. But obstruction of justice, witness...
Processing? Wait, processing? You tell a brother or a sister you ain't under arrest, but I'm finna process you. You be like, process? How you spell your process? Like PROCES? Like going through the system. Like smile, I'm on candid camera. Put your hands on this black stuff. You talking about like that? You know, here we go to start. Processing. I can't go home. I'm not under arrest yet, but processing? I mean, what that mean? Somebody going to the sweet pickle house. Get your mouth in order. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Put your fingers to them right here on, raise your neck up, baby. Right there. Put them fingers right there. You better learn how to breathe. You better learn how to hold some. You better do some breathing techniques. Is this why Donald Trump been up? Oh, they say he was up all night long. What? All your fingers? Yeah, swallow. I mean, what you mean? Processing. What you mean I can't go home? What you mean? Wait, what the fuck is going on? Uh-huh. Silly rabbit. Yeah, y'all thought y'all had it all together. Is that why you stealing? Is that why Y'all done opened up Swiss bank accounts. I told you it was going to make sense. Didn't I tell y'all? I had to redirect my order. It's getting good. It's getting good. Hit the like button. Y'all better hit the like button. You better hit them 3 dots, baby. Woo! Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Processing. I know good and damn well we don't like hearing that word. That don't sound right. I don't think you mean what you just said, Your Honor. Come on, baby girl. Here it is.
Done.
Kool-Aid on them. What's this? A straight drop used to use Skittles. They say he lick them Skittles and rub it across their lips. And use that ink off them Skittles. I kept saying, oh, his lips is rosy. Why he get that? How the hell he don't... He making women mouth look bad because he got a pretty little rose on there, dusty rose, and his ass was locked up. How he do that? They said them Skittles. Skittle lips. How you would think that Skittles gonna taste in that pickle? Stick them Skittles down off in the center of that pickle. Let's see how you eat that.
Mr. Harrison, you are hereby ordered to remain in this jurisdiction. All defense counsel are barred from contacting the defendant, the witnesses, or each other until further notice.
Oh my God.
Harrison's face went white, actually white. The kind of pale that comes from realizing your entire career just imploded in 90 seconds.
Oh my God.
Your Honor, our client has rights. Your client's rights are not the issue, counselor.
This color white? That white like that?
Your conduct is.
Oh.
And then Judge Caldwell said something that made every attorney in that courthouse sit up straight. Federal marshals will escort you to processing. You are not under arrest yet. But obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and conspiracy charges are being evaluated as we speak. The courtroom fell silent, completely silent, because everyone understood what had just happened. A sitting federal judge had just caught defense attorneys, allegedly, coordinating testimony with a witness on tape in his courtroom, and he had responded with the judicial equivalent of a nuclear strike. If you're watching this thinking, finally, someone's covering the full story, hit subscribe. I'm going deep on this case.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Next about those
Join the membership.
Nobody else is connecting these dots, but not everyone sees it that way.
Baby, baby girl, we connect dots over here. They better ask somebody. They better ask somebody. We connect dots over here. And if it don't fit, right immediately, we gonna do what? We gonna park it. We gonna park it, baby, until them dots connect. We just been waiting patiently. Patiently. Yes, indeed. We have faith of a mustard seed. We like this tea.
Allegedly.
Let's go.
Coordinating testimony with a witness on tape.
The mayor changed her
statement. And he had
statement.
responded with the judicial equivalent of a nuclear strike.
Oh my
If you're
God.
watching this thinking, finally, someone's covering the full story, hit subscribe.
Finally.
I'm going deep on this case.
Woo!
Because what I'm about to
Let's
reveal
go
next
deep.
about those defense attorneys,
Stick that
nobody
skeeter
else is
deep
connecting
up
these
in there.
dots. But not everyone sees it that way. Defense advocacy groups
Stick
are calling
that
this a
skittle
dangerous
deep
overreach.
down off in
And
there.
honestly, when you hear their argument, you might understand why some people are worried. The National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers released a statement within hours. The seizure of privileged attorney-client materials without proper warrant procedures sets a terrifying precedent. Judge Caldwell may have acted on emotion rather than law.
Timing and
One prominent
pattern.
civil liberties attorney put it this way. Think about what happened here. A judge heard something he didn't like during a private conversation and immediately seized property. What about the Fourth Amendment? What about attorney-client privilege? These protections exist for a reason. Social media is exploding with divided reactions. Posts saying the judge was a hero. Posts calling him a tyrant. Legal Twitter has been in all-out war for 48 hours straight. And here's the uncomfortable truth. There are real questions about how this was handled. Was the audio recording legal? The defense table wasn't supposed to be monitored during recess. Is that evidence even admissible? Did Judge Caldwell have the authority to seize the laptop without a warrant? Legal experts are genuinely split. And what about the unidentified voice on that recording? If it wasn't actually witnessed...
Wasn't Trump supposed to go through Congress? Huh? Was he supposed to bomb, steal, and kill? Huh? Was he supposed to put that money in that foreign bank account? Huh? Yeah. What we doing? Huh? Was he supposed to put them tariffs and shit on them countries because they didn't do what he wanted them to do, making us pay more taxes? He taxing on top of taxing on top of taxes and hitting and affecting the U.S. Ain't it supposed to be the U.S. first? Yeah, no. Yeah. He did right. He did right. Yeah, he did right. Let's go. Yeah.
Caldwell have the authority to seize the laptop without a warrant. Legal experts are genuinely split. And what about the unidentified voice on that recording? If it wasn't actually witness tampering, if it was something else entirely, did Judge Caldwell just destroy an innocent defense team's ability to represent their client? Judges don't get to become prosecutors, one critic said on cable news. He heard something, assumed the worst, and acted as judge, jury, and executioner of this defense team's careers.
Because you did that shit in my courtroom.
That's vigilantism in a robe. So who's right? Is Judge Caldwell actually a hero?
He made a good judgment call.
Or did he just show what happens when judges let their emotions override proper procedure?
However you take it.
That's the question nobody wants to answer. And the more you dig into this, the messier it gets. But this didn't come out of nowhere. Weeks before this explosion, the warning signs were everywhere. It started with a witness, Maria Delgado, a former accountant for the defendant, who was scheduled to testify about falsified financial records. Her original deposition was devastating for the defense.
So they got Ivanka. She was subpoenaed, falsifying documents she gave over. Here you go. Her. She handed that, And so the baby girl, she said her numbers was this and and then all of a sudden she started getting amnesia. I don't remember. Maybe I was wrong. You were accurate before. But I done went to sleep. Yeah, they better get the lights up, baby, cause I will shut it down. I'm 2 hours in too, baby, please. Y'all better hit those 3 dots.
Changed. 3 weeks before trial, Delgado's attorney contacted the prosecution.
Like, share, and subscribe. Join the membership.
Statement. Suddenly, the numbers she'd been so certain about were unclear. The documents she authenticated. Judge Caldwell's hands were tied. Suspicion isn't proof, and the defense was entitled to the presumption that their tactics were legitimate.
We gonna play like that?
Noticed. The defense's cross-examinations were too perfect. Their objections anticipated directly, the lead prosecutor said in a filing. The court acknowledged but stated there was insufficient evidence to act. Judge Caldwell's hands were tied. Suspicion isn't proof, and the defense was entitled to the presumption that their tactics were legitimate.
Maybe they just changed
the
a little of
the
ingredients.
Were too perfect. Their objections anticipated prosecution moves before they happened. Their witness preparation was almost supernatural. Every week, they seemed to know exactly what was coming. Judge Caldwell reportedly told his clerk, "Something's not right. I can feel it, but I can't act on feelings." Until he didn't have to rely on feelings anymore. That forgotten microphone gave him something he'd been waiting weeks for. Evidence. Real evidence. Recorded evidence. Evidence that didn't require interpretation or speculation. The stage was set. The defense had been pushing their luck for months, and they had no idea that one technical glitch, one microphone that stayed active, would be the trap that ended everything. Judge Caldwell had been watching, waiting, knowing something was wrong. And when the proof finally landed in his lap, he didn't hesitate, not for 1 second. Drop a like if you see where this is going. Because the courtroom seizure was just the beginning. What happened in the 48 hours after? That's where this story goes from dramatic to absolutely insane. And then it happened. The marshals approached the defense table, 3 of them, moving with the kind of purpose that told everyone in that room this wasn't a request. Harrison stood anyway, his hand reaching for the laptop. Don't. One word from Judge Caldwell. One word that froze Harrison mid-motion. The lead marshal, a 20-year veteran named Patterson, stepped between Harrison and the table, gloved hands, evidence bags ready. This is privileged material.
Yeah, mine was the ointment.
Not anymore. Judge Caldwell's voice carried across the silent courtroom. Privilege does not extend to evidence of ongoing criminal activity. You know that, or you should. The laptop was bagged, then the phones, then the tablets, then the external drives. The defense team stood there, 5 legal professionals, watching their entire case.
Somebody took their
their communications,
away,
their careers being carried out of the courtroom in clear plastic bags. 45 seconds.
Original one. Hi, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Changed. But here's what everyone missed while they were focused on the seizure itself. Judge Caldwell had already made a phone call. During that 15-minute recess,
go ahead, make your day.
The recording, he'd contacted the U.S. Attorney's Office directly. By the time those laptops were being bagged, federal investigators were already on their way.
I missed. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Get off the thing.
The laptop is being seized as evidence. Your entire team is ordered to surrender. No idea that one technical glitch, one microphone that stayed active, would be the trap that ended everything. Judge Caldwell.
Somebody took their light back.
Waiting, knowing something was wrong.
I don't want the roll
finally
on,
landed in
Janet.
his lap. He didn't hesitate, not for 1 second. Drop a like if you see where this is going. Because the courtroom seizure was just the beginning. What happened in the 48 hours after? That's where this story goes from dramatic to absolutely insane. And then it happened. The marshals approached the defense table.
Come on,
3 of
U.S.
them,
Marshals.
moving with the kind of purpose that told everyone in that room this wasn't a request. Harrison stood anyway, his hand reaching for the laptop. Don't. One word from Judge Caldwell. One word that froze Harrison mid-motion.
Don't.
The lead marshal, a 20-year veteran named Patterson, stepped between Harrison and the table, gloved hands, evidence bags ready. This is privileged material, Harrison started. Not anymore. Judge Caldwell's voice carried across the silent courtroom. Privilege does not extend to evidence of ongoing criminal activity. You know that, or you should. The laptop was bagged, then the phones, then the tablets, then the external drives. The defense team stood there, 5 legal professionals, watching their entire case, their files, their communications, their careers being carried out of the courtroom in clear plastic bags. 45 seconds. That's all it took. 45 seconds, and everything changed. But here's what everyone missed while they were focused on the seizure itself. Judge Caldwell had already made a phone call. During that 15-minute recess, after hearing the recording, he'd contacted the U.S. Attorney's Office directly. By the time those laptops were being bagged, federal investigators were already on their way. This wasn't an emotional reaction. Judge Caldwell had watched this defense team for weeks. He'd suspected something was wrong. And the moment he had proof, he'd executed a plan. The seizure was public, dramatic, impossible to hide or spin. But the investigation had already begun before the defense team even knew they'd been caught. Judge Caldwell had coordinated with federal prosecutors. He'd ensured the audio recording was preserved with proper chain of custody. He'd prepared the legal justification for emergency seizure under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. This wasn't judicial overreach. This was a chess master changed. But here's what everyone missed while they were focused on the seizure itself. Judge Caldwell had already made a phone call. During that 15-minute recess, after hearing the recording, he'd contacted the U.S. Attorney's Office directly. By the time those laptops were being bagged, federal investigators were already on their way. This wasn't an emotional reaction. Judge Caldwell had watched this defense team for weeks. He'd suspected something was wrong, and the moment he had proof, he'd executed a plan. The seizure was public, dramatic, impossible to hide or spin. But the investigation had already begun before the defense team even knew they'd been caught. Judge Caldwell had coordinated with federal prosecutors. He ensured the audio recording was preserved with proper chain of custody. He prepared the legal justification for emergency seizure under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. This wasn't judicial overreach. This was a chess master springing a trap he'd been building for months. And the defense team walked right into it. Don't go anywhere. What I'm about to reveal changes everything about how we understand this case. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Judge Caldwell was right to seize those devices? I want to see where you stand. People who do this for a living are calling this unprecedented. A former federal prosecutor, someone who's been in courtrooms like this for over 2 decades, explained it this way. In my entire career, I've never seen a sitting judge take action this decisive, this fast on evidence of witness tampering. Usually these investigations take months. So judges are cautious to a fault. Caldwell moved like a prosecutor, and legally, he may have been completely justified. What does that mean in plain English? Judge Caldwell didn't just react, he anticipated. He'd been building a mental case file for weeks, and the moment evidence appeared, he knew exactly how to use it. And here's what legal analysts are whispering to each other behind closed doors. The crime fraud exception is real. If communications between attorney and client are used to further ongoing criminal activity, privilege evaporates. Caldwell clearly believes he caught them in the act. If he's right, everything on those devices is fair game. But it's not just prosecution-minded voices. Even defense attorneys are admitting there's something to this. Look, I defend the accused for a living, but if what's on that recording is what they're saying, those attorneys weren't defending anyone. They were participating in obstruction. That's not zealous advocacy, that's criminal conspiracy. The real question experts are wrestling with: did Judge Caldwell have enough to justify the seizure in that moment? The recording captured suspicious conversation, but was it enough? Did he hear actual evidence of a crime or just concerning language that could be explained away?
A crime.
This will be litigated for years, one analyst predicted. Every piece of evidence that comes from those devices will be challenged. Defense attorneys nationwide are watching this case to see if Caldwell's seizure survives appeal. The message is clear. Judge Caldwell bet his entire career on this moment. If he's right, he's a hero. If he's wrong, he's destroyed his legacy and possibly let a guilty defendant walk free. Smash that like button if this analysis is opening your eyes to how complex this situation really is. Because the implications of what happened in that
never
courtroom,
expect anybody to challenge
way
him
beyond this one case.
The challenge
So
is
what does
on.
this mean for you? Right now, every defense attorney in the country is reviewing their courtroom procedures. If a forgotten microphone can capture private conversations, what else is being recorded? Federal courthouses across America are reportedly auditing their audio systems. Here's the thing, this affects every person who might ever need a defense attorney. Are your private conversations with your lawyer actually private? After this case, nobody's sure anymore.
You're welcome.
In the next few months, expect a flood of motions.
Can I
in
get y'all to
cases
hit the like
nationwide.
button,
Defense
please?
teams are going to challenge courtroom recording procedures
some
everywhere.
thumbs up.
Cases
I would
might be
greatly
delayed.
appreciate it.
Verdicts might be appealed. The ripple effects are already spreading. If you're someone who follows the legal system, or if you've ever worried about the balance between justice and privacy, this case is about to become the most important precedent
It was a
of the
mistake
decade.
that happened,
but the bigger picture, that's what keeps me up at night.
But that
If Judge Caldwell's seizure is
hold
upheld,
on, it was a mistake. It was on, but it was a hot mic. It happens to Trump all the
defense
time.
teams are going to challenge courtroom recording procedures every.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
But you can't overlook breaking the law, tampering with a witness, obstruction of justice, because the mic is hot. You can't say, oh, yeah, it was hot. Yeah, he admitted to doing it. Yeah, he's tampering with a witness. but we there's nothing we can do about it. That's bullcrap. It's recorded. Oh well, check the mic. Yeah.
Every person who might ever need a defense attorney. Are your private conversations with your lawyer actually private? After this case, nobody's sure anymore. In the next few months, expect a flood of motions in cases nationwide. Defense teams are going to challenge courtroom recording procedures everywhere. Cases might be delayed. Verdicts might be appealed. The ripple effects are already spreading. If you're someone who follows the legal system, or if you've ever worried about the balance between justice and privacy, this case is about to become the most important precedent of the decade. But the bigger picture, that's what keeps me up at night. If Judge Caldwell's seizure is upheld, it creates a roadmap for judges everywhere. Suspect your attorneys are playing dirty? Wait for them to slip up on a hot mic and seize everything. On one hand, accountability. Corrupt lawyers should be caught.
What you don't know won't hurt you. But what I know. So now you playing in my face. So you said that by the time he figures it out, it'll be too late. That's the same shit that happened with Diddy. Same as that. That sounds like Trump himself. I ain't lying.
What happens when a judge is wrong? What happens when an innocent conversation is misinterpreted and a defendant loses their entire legal team based on a misunderstanding? And here's what nobody wants to talk about. What if the defense team was actually innocent? What if that conversation was taken out of context?
Shouldn't have said nothing like it.
Adjusted testimony meant legitimate witness preparation? What if the arrangement referred to a legal fee structure? What if Judge Caldwell, convinced of wrongdoing after weeks of suspicion, heard what he wanted to hear? Right now, careers are destroyed, a trial is suspended, a defendant is in legal limbo. And if it turns out the recording doesn't prove what everyone thinks it proves, there's no undo button for this. The defense attorneys can't unexperience being walked out of a courtroom by marshals. The defendant can't unlive months of additional incarceration while this gets sorted out. And Judge Caldwell can't unmake a decision that was broadcast to the world. That's not a comfortable thought, but it's the reality of what happens when justice moves at the speed of instinct rather than investigation. And then the defense team made it worse. Instead of staying quiet, instead of letting their attorneys handle it, lead counsel Harrison held an impromptu press conference on the courthouse steps. Big mistake. Judge Caldwell has engaged in judicial tyranny, Harrison declared, face flushed, voice shaking with barely controlled rage. He has violated our constitutional rights based on a recording that was illegally obtained. We will fight this to the Supreme Court if necessary. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Legal analysts pointed out that attacking the judge publicly while under investigation for witness tampering was perhaps the worst possible strategy. One commentator called it pouring gasoline on a fire while standing in the flames. But here's where it gets dangerous.
Oh, hold on.
Press conference on the courthouse steps. Big mistake. Judge Caldwell has engaged in judicial tyranny, Harrison declared, face flushed, voice shaking with barely controlled rage. He has violated our constitutional rights based on a recording that was illegally obtained. We will fight this to the Supreme Court if necessary. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Legal analysts pointed out that attacking the judge publicly while under investigation for witness tampering was perhaps the worst possible strategy. One commentator called it pouring gasoline on a fire while standing in the flames. But here's where it gets dangerous. Within 24 hours, the defendant's supporters started showing up at the courthouse. Signs, chants, accusations of judicial corruption. Online, it got darker. Judge Caldwell's home address was posted on social media. His family members were identified and harassed. Threats started appearing, subtle at first, then increasingly explicit. The U.S. Marshals Service assigned a protection detail to Judge Caldwell. His wife and children were moved to an undisclosed location, all because Harrison couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Wow.
This is exactly what witness tampering looks like at scale, one former prosecutor observed.
This is what
They're
Trump
trying to
do.
intimidate the judge the same way they allegedly intimidated the witness. It's
And the
same
Epstein
playbook,
survivors.
just bigger. The defendant's family released their own statement. Our loved one is being railroaded by a rogue judge who has decided guilt before trial. We call on all Americans who believe in justice to stand against this abuse of power. Federal security protocols at the courthouse have been elevated to their highest level. And Judge Caldwell, he hasn't said a word publicly since that day in the courtroom. Not one word. Which tells you everything about who's actually in control of this situation. But here's what's bothering me. Why was that microphone still active? The courthouse audio system has been in place for 12 years. This kind of glitch, quote unquote, has never happened before, ever. Who was the unidentified voice on the recording? It wasn't identified in any of the court filings. The investigation isn't saying. And why did the defense team's behavior change?
Ooh, baby. I don't know what.
Here's what they aren't letting you see.
Oh, yeah, this is
a neglect.
But listen, y'all, before I go, it says Trump, 2 hours ago, Bloomberg, President Donald Trump sued the U.S. Treasury and the Internal Revenue Services for at least $10 billion over an unauthorized disclosure of his tax returns during his first term in office. I don't know. I'm sorry. I am not going to jail for anybody. I tell it, get your drawers on credit. Y'all remember that? Tell it. You better tell it. Oh man, I don't want to watch this other one because I think it's the same thing, but it is. I know something was added. Oh man. Woo, I reached my goals. They saying don't go on TV. Don't go on TV. Don't go on TV. Let me go back to the one before. Don't go. I told y'all the tea was hot. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
17 minutes. That's how long the FBI needed inside Judge Caldwell's chambers before they...
So I'm trying, because 3 minutes was added to this.
17 minutes to dismantle a career that took 32 years to build. 17 minutes before the man who'd sentenced thousands to prison was photographed watching federal agents rifle through his own desk. His hands were shaking. Witnesses saw it. The same hands...
So FBI. So he said, oh wow, he put the FBI on the judge.
Distinguished historian, author.
Wish I would have known about this sooner.
He put the FBI on the
at least I can use it now.
on the judge, y'all.
Welcome to the Court of History. I'm Sidney Blumenthal. I'm here with my co-host.
17 minutes. That's how long the FBI needed inside Judge Caldwell's chambers before they started carrying out boxes. 17 minutes to dismantle a career that took 32 years to build. 17 minutes before the man who'd sentenced thousands to prison was photographed.
Y'all, they don't hit FBI raids Judge Caldwell chambers searching for recording scandal.
Arrest warrants. The same hands that banged that gavel like a weapon, trembling. And the look on his face, pure terror. Because Judge Caldwell knew something the rest of us didn't. He knew what was on those recordings. He knew exactly what the FBI was about to find. And he knew there was no ruling his way out of this one. So what pushed the FBI to raid a sitting federal judge's chambers in broad daylight? One recording, one conversation, one moment of arrogance caught on tape that he thought would never surface. Judge Marcus Caldwell, 23 years on the federal bench, architect of some of the harshest sentencing guidelines in his district. The man defendants literally prayed they wouldn't draw, finally met the one thing he couldn't intimidate: evidence. But here's the thing. This wasn't a random slip. This wasn't bad luck. This was years of whispered complaints, buried grievances, and suspicious patterns finally crystallizing into something the Department of Justice couldn't ignore. The recording everyone's talking about, it's coming. I'm going to play it for you. But first, you need to understand what kind of man we're dealing with.
Oh, she
because
gonna
Judge
play it?
Caldwell didn't just bend the rules.
How she get?
According to prosecutors, he built an entire system
Yo, I
designed
gotta
to benefit
go.
himself
Oh my
and
God.
punish anyone who questioned him. Defense attorneys knew. Court staff knew. Even other judges whispered about him behind closed doors. But nobody could prove anything until someone hit record. And what they captured? It changes everything you think you know about American justice. Here's what actually happened, the moment that brought the FBI to a federal courthouse with a warrant. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Regular court business, nothing unusual on the docket. But inside Judge Caldwell's chambers, a conversation was taking place that would end his career. And someone, the identity still sealed by federal prosecutors, was recording every word. The audio quality is grainy. You can hear papers shuffling, chairs creaking. But Caldwell's voice, crystal clear. The Henderson case, I need it buried. You make sure the right clerk pulls it, and I'll make sure your firm keeps getting favorable rulings. We've done this before. Don't act like you don't know the arrangement. Let that sink in. A federal judge, on tape, explicitly describing a quid pro quo arrangement with an attorney, discussing case manipulation like it was routine paperwork. But it gets worse. The other voice on the recording, allegedly a defense attorneys knew, court staff knew, even other judges whispered about him behind closed doors. But nobody could prove anything until someone hit record. And what they captured? It changes everything you think you know about American justice. Here's what actually happened, the moment that brought the FBI to a federal courthouse with a warrant. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Regular court business, nothing unusual on the docket. But inside Judge Caldwell's chambers, a conversation was taking place that would end his career. And someone, the identity still sealed by federal prosecutors, was recording every word. The audio quality is grainy. You can hear papers shuffling, chairs creaking. But Caldwell's voice? Crystal clear. The Henderson case, I need it buried. You make sure the right clerk pulls it, and I'll make sure your firm keeps getting favorable rulings. We've done this before. Don't act like you don't know the arrangement. Let that sink in. A federal judge, on tape, explicitly describing a quid pro quo arrangement with an attorney, discussing case manipulation like it was routine paperwork. But it gets worse. The other voice on the recording, allegedly a prominent local defense attorney, responded, "What about the defendant? He's looking at 15 years. Caldwell's answer, then he should have hired you instead. Not my problem. Henderson goes away.
So they got dirt
your client
on
walks.
Caldwell.
Everybody wins. Except Henderson, but nobody cares about him anyway." The room in that recording
They got
goes
dirt
quiet
on
for a moment,
Caldwell.
then laughter. Two men laughing about destroying someone's life. 15 years. Treated like a punchline. When this audio leaked, first to a local investigative reporter, then to federal authorities, the response was immediate. Within 72 hours, the FBI had a warrant. Within 96 hours, they were inside Caldwell's chambers. The footage from that day is surreal. Agents in windbreakers carrying boxes through marble hallways designed to project authority and permanence. Court staff frozen in doorways, watching. Other judges emerging from their chambers, faces pale. One courthouse employee who spoke anonymously described the scene. It was dead silent.
Did you know that salt combined with cinnamon can make you stabilize your blood sugar 47
Oh, I'm
times
like,
faster
what
than
is that?
metformin? This is the strangest.
Lord.
Nobody knew what to do. We've never seen anything like this. He was untouchable for so long, and suddenly there were federal agents everywhere. But here's what nobody saw.
Damn it, man.
The recording wasn't just about one case. Investigators now believe it was part of a larger pattern. As agents searched Caldwell's chambers, they weren't just looking for documents related to the Henderson case. They were searching for evidence of a system, years of manipulated rulings, buried cases, and favorable treatment for attorneys willing to play ball. Sources close to the investigation say agents
They all have
seized
dirt on
3
each other.
computers,
That's crazy.
dozens of files,
It's a part of
and
that
personal
blackmail.
notebooks Caldwell kept locked in his desk. One former clerk, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed something that sent chills through the legal community. He kept lists. Everyone knew about the lists. Which attorneys were on his good side, which defendants he wanted to bury. It was like a ledger, a federal judge keeping score like a bookie. And the Henderson case they mentioned on the recording, that defendant, Marcus Henderson, has been sitting in federal prison for 11 years. 11 years for a case that, if the allegations are true, was manipulated from the start. His family is already demanding a review, but they're not alone. Since the raid, 17 defendants have filed motions claiming their cases were compromised by Caldwell's alleged corruption. 17 people sitting in prison right now who believe they were victims of a rigged system. And here's the kicker. Legal experts say that number could grow into the hundreds. Because if Caldwell was doing this for years, if this was really a system and not a one-time lapse, every single case he touched is now potentially tainted. Every ruling, every sentence, every life he held in his hands, all of it is now under a microscope. If you're watching this thinking someone finally exposed what's been happening behind closed doors, hit subscribe right now.
All of this
I'm just
shit
getting
is
started
just
on this story.
dirty.
And what's coming next is even darker than you expect. But not everyone believes the narrative you just heard. Judge Caldwell's defenders are calling this a hit job, a politically motivated attack on a tough-on-crime judge who made powerful enemies by refusing to bow to pressure. And honestly, when you hear their argument, you'll understand why this isn't as simple as it seems. Caldwell's attorney released a statement within hours of the raid. Judge Caldwell has served this nation with distinction for over 2 decades. This investigation is based on a recording of unknown origin, potentially doctored, and almost certainly obtained illegally. We are confident that when the facts emerge, Judge Caldwell will be fully vindicated. Potentially doctored, that's a serious claim. And some legal observers are asking uncomfortable questions. One former federal judge put it this way: the speed of this raid concerns me. Normally, investigations into sitting judges take months or years before any action. This felt rushed. That either means the evidence is overwhelming or someone wanted headlines. Social media is split down the middle. Half the posts are celebrating, finally, accountability in the justice system. But the other half, they're pointing out inconsistencies. Why now? This recording allegedly captures events from 2 years ago. Why did it take this long to surface? Who made the recording? The identity is sealed, but that means we don't know their motives. Were they a whistleblower or someone with a grudge? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Federal judges make enemies. Every ruling creates a winner and a loser. Every sentence devastates a family. Some of those families would do anything for revenge. I've seen judges targeted before, one judicial ethics expert noted. Fabricated evidence, manipulated recordings. It happens more than people realize. So who's right? Is Judge Caldwell a corrupt official who finally got caught? Or is he a victim of something more sinister? A coordinated effort to destroy a man who couldn't be controlled? That's the question keeping lawyers up at night. And the answer isn't clear yet. But this didn't come out of nowhere. Long before that recording surfaced, the warning signs were everywhere. Defense attorneys in Caldwell's district had a name for him: the executioner. Not because he handed out death sentences, federal judges rarely do, but because of his sentencing patterns. Prosecutors loved drawing his courtroom. Defense attorneys dreaded it. If your client was black or poor, you were finished, one public defender said privately. It didn't matter what the facts were. Caldwell had already decided. Complaints piled up. The Judicial Conduct Board received at least 12 formal grievances
in the
over 15
Republican
years.
House majority
Accusations
in
of racial
Minnesota
bias, claims of ex parte communications with prosecutors, reports that he'd make up his mind before trials even began. Nothing stuck. Every complaint was dismissed or settled quietly. One attorney who filed a complaint 7 years ago remembers the response. I was told to drop it. Not officially, nobody puts that in writing, but I was told my career in this district would be over if I kept pushing.
Oh, wow, y'all. This is just way too heavy. This way too heavy. This way too heavy. Yeah, I need to go put some vittles in my mouth. Auntie B, did you say vittles? Yeah, before my 9:30 come. Hold on. Mm-mm-mm. I'm wondering, is this man's real name? 14 tapes leaked. The trial is officially terminated. I need to research this more. I do, because I'm a little confused. Did he get in trouble, or were they saying... Yeah, I need to research this a little more. Oh, wow. Okay, let me see. Before I go, I gotta come back. Texas man who once escaped. I just sent this to myself. Oh yeah, he real crooked. I need to see if this is true. Trump sues the Treasury. Wow. Hey Denise. So, yeah, so it said he's suing, and this is going back to his first term. 10 billion. He sure trying to get that money, ain't he? Okay, y'all, I'll be back at 9:30. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I think I marked it already as public. Can y'all double check to see if y'all can see it? Make sure it's public and not sitting on private. Ooh, that was some good tea today. Thank y'all. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. I'm going to keep digging and digging and digging, and hopefully it's going to work in our favor. God going to turn it around. You understand? Do y'all see it? Let me double check. I'm trying to double check before I let y'all go. It should be set public at 9:30. Let me eat. And I don't know how long this one is. It say public. Yeah. So I see y'all at 9:30. And if we have time, we can finish where we left off after we finished with a baby girl. He was so hot. Baby, that tea hot. We didn't even get a chance to hear back. Let me hear.
This cup of tea for about 10 minutes. I need to talk to you about something
a
little bit serious. I realize
Be back with the good.
Let me see that. If I sent it. Oh, yeah, y'all listen.
Of helping Epstein procure young girls found dead in prison. What do you know? Wow, he hanged himself in his cell. It was ruled a suicide.
He has been
These parallels are so striking. Here's what we know. French authorities say Brunel was found
hit the like button, y'all.
at 1:30 a.m. this morning in a prison in the south of Paris.
Was it hot, Bonnie? Was the tea hot?
Detention. He had been charged in France with raping a minor, but he was actually also being investigated for trafficking women to the United States for Epstein to abuse.
Remember the judge that got onto the Epstein case? I think it was with the DJ Banks and whatnot, and then a guy like dressed up as a FedEx worker went to her house and shot her husband and murdered her son.
A madman, who I believe was targeting me because of my position as a federal judge, came to my house. I heard the sound of bullets and someone screaming, "No!" I later learned that this monster who had a FedEx package in his hand opened fire.
A couple days later, they find the guy killed himself. Conveniently. Are you serious? Somebody's 2 for 2. So mind you, this was again 4 days after she got assigned to this case, involving a lot of money at play. So did they assume that she was going to not rule in their favor? Like, I don't get how that, like, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, so what's the next judge gonna do? They're just gonna kill that judge too, or as many as? Oh my God.
Remember all the child star actors that have like come out and like been like, yeah, some really messed up stuff happens in Hollywood.
And I went into the office of Arthur Freed, and he was going to talk to me about a movie he wanted to put me in. And I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself. So I had no clue about what was happening. And so it struck me so funny. I laughed.
Shirley Temple.
And I laughed uproariously. I had tears, and he got infuriated. And he said, out, go.
And Richard Pryor came on. What? That was really cool. He was so neat. I just saw 3 young white girls with it. You don't like young girls? You say you don't like young girls, or don't you? Smile about it when you got young. No, I like young. Yeah, I fuck them.
My thing is this, it's not just Hollywood's dirty little secret, it's the world's dirty little secret. This is something that's been going on not just in Hollywood, but everywhere. People are afraid to talk about it.
I haven't testified in a while because I've been watching some current events and things that have been happening around the globe. And mainly, we have no defense for our children. They are powerless against a lot of things going on, especially violence as far as child molestation and child pornography. We have done nothing to protect these children. Laws are in place to protect the adults and the guilty, but not to protect the innocent and the children. What about Prince Andrew and his settlement with Virginia Giuffre? These people in power that control our lives, they're bad people.
So you tell me how many times would it take for you, because I've been in so many sexual encounters and so many things that I thought it was me. For a very long time I was ashamed of me. I was disgusted by me. I'm mad at me because of what has been done to me. But at the end of the day, I had to realize and I've lost count at how many people that I've had to be with, that I've been forced to be with, that I've had to go into a situation with. And that's because of what I was forced and what I was put into the middle of. But how many times would it take for you to be abused by a police officer?
Oh, wow.
Somebody on a military base,
a
politician, a sports athlete, somebody that works in facilities, a teacher, somebody that's a judge. How many times would it take for you to realize that's what somebody's job title is, and how many ways do you need to take to understand that there is no one to tell?
Wow.
We have tried everything, and the only thing that we didn't try is talking to y'all, and that's why we're here. This is where your generals come in and they're guilty. This is where your lieutenants come in and they're guilty. This is where sergeants come in and they're guilty. This is where multiple military men are set up and they're guilty for experiments that they put to blackmail people because they don't want them to have the clearance that they have and the information and the evidence that's locked in. Hear me when I am telling you, you don't live in the world that you think you do.
Of helping Epstein procure young girls found dead in prison. What do you know? Wow, he hanged himself in his cell. It was ruled a suicide.